that's not true. Just kiss.
What's not true?
I'm not gonna beat you up. Snuggle. That's it.
Okay.
Stop.
Snuggle.
Exactly. We already are.
Gotcha. Thank you, B. Blake, how you doing, Blake? Long time no speak, man.
Man, good morning. Good morning, JB. I just want to say Jewish people make the greatest public defenders for blacks. So, but anyhow, the what you just heard, the exchange between the moderator and the other guy is a prime example. And he did say something that I think is missed and needs to be learned on these discussions is don't commit to how you say it said don't commit to arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding, and that is a tactic. That's a tactic, and it's a problem, especially in the black community, with this deliberate poor comprehension in conversation. Like they just have no comprehension skills. Like this man just laid it out, told him his personal background and how he personally loves his community, and that he loves his community so much that he holds his community accountable. But he still comes back with the same argument as like he never stated that. And that's that kind of deliberate misunderstanding that's used as a tactic to do away with the substance of what the opposing argument is putting up. And that shit right there, like at some point, we got to start getting like people like Sig that just say, man, fuck what you talking about. I don't care what you talking about. I said what I said, and that's what it is. Because the truth stands alone. The truth don't need no packaging. It is what it is.
Jay, can I ask you something?
You'd ask me if you like. You may not like the answer.
No, I'm not sensitive. But I have friends that are also Jewish and friends that are Israeli, and they have a very similar experience to you. They always get called self-hating Jews whenever they disagree with any small thing within the community. And I just think it's interesting that you're calling it out because you're from, I'm guessing, from the US and Israel, and they're facing the same problem. Yeah. So my question is, do you think it... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Do you think it's intrinsic, like something that's embedded deep in the Jewish community, or do you think it's something that's happened recently?
I think it's been historically. And listen, I don't speak for all Jews, and I'm not saying all Jews are racist. That's not my point. My point is they have no problem with racism until it comes back to them. So, and I'm just speaking on my lived experience, what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've been around. But there's great Jews. There's bad Jews too. See, that's the thing, Chantel. We are the most hypersensitive group in the world.
Exactly.
Can't say shit about us.
Mm-hmm. And they're quick to ostracize each other, from my observation.
Okay, no argument for me. Let me say good morning to David. David, how you doing?
Oh, it's JB, the fucking master of everything. The gaslighting master of everything. Here we go.
That's what you came to the stage to say?
Yeah, listen to everyone. Everyone listen to what he has to say. He's the gaslighter. He knows what everyone wants to know.
I know you're an asshole.
And I know that you're a gaslighting piece of shit, man.
Wait, why are you attacking him? What's going on?
Because he's a
Talk
gaslighter.
to him like that.
Do not listen to him. He's a gaslighter. No matter what
Okay, you can disagree
you have
with
to
him, but you can say
he will
respectfully.
gaslight the fuck out of you. The guy is a piece of shit.
And when did he gaslight you?
Huh?
Do you feel
When did he
better
gaslight
now?
you?
Oh, we hate each other. I think he's a piece of shit, this guy.
I don't have enough energy
Living
to
in
hate you.
America, white.
I don't have enough energy to hate you.
I think he...
I don't have enough energy to hate you. You're irrelevant, bro. On this side of real life.
Don't call me bro, mate. I'm not your fucking brother. I think you're a piece of shit.
Okay, you can think that he's
Gaslighting.
a bastard, but
Look at all the people in your room that you are happily... All the people in your room that you are happily gaslighting. Go on, mate.
How is he
Keep going.
gaslighting
Keep
if he
going.
has
I'll
his
listen.
point of
I'll
view?
listen to you.
You're not proving no point, though. How is he gaslight? Break it down, bro. Like, give us some knowledge.
Listen to him talk.
Okay, I've been listening to him talk and he's disagreed with me on several points. How is this gaslighting?
Or just listen. Just let it go for 5 minutes and listen to the way he talks to people.
Do you need a hug? You okay?
We've been in here a little longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I bet. And I bet he's gaslighted every one of you. I bet he's made every one of you his bitch. I bet he has.
He
Are
really
you under
has
the
it, brother. I think
influence of any
Nah,
substance?
You told me a
What
bitch.
he will. You watch he does.
I think he just had a few.
calculated. He's
he
a
just-
calculated little bitch, this guy.
I think you're under the influence of some substances.
So this is me, right?
Absolutely not.
I often say, you know what a hater is? A hater is somebody that hates you for no reason. Like
In my country,
dude
a hater is someone that hates.
Hold on a second, I got you.
But I hate
This dude
guy.
can't even
This guy-
state his
I
claim.
bet this guy.
He needs to
thinks
tell me
his
what
wife-
did JB say? What did he say?
$1 million.
to make you think
this
he's a
guy
gaslighter?
thinks-
Okay, Ozzy, mate, why do you think he's a gaslighter? Give us an example.
Right, give me an example. Break it down.
Yeah, just keep listening. You'll see.
Keep
Now that I've
listening, you'll
listening.
see.
You're
Hold on,
listening.
King, hold on. Hold on.
I'm supposed to
You
listen to
say
some
you-
guy that sounds like a
you're
leprechaun
doing
of Lucky Charms.
Just listen
Telling me to
and
fucking
you'll
listen to
see.
JB. I know JB, but I'm supposed to
Hold
listen to a guy
on,
that sounds
King,
like a
one
leprechaun.
second.
Tell
Hold
me,
on,
just listen. Like, give me the pot of gold, man. Stop playing with us.
Yeah,
He's
Evie,
not
could you imagine if we?
Irish, he's Australian.
Could you
So,
imagine
I-
Evie?
Well, give me a
As I
kangaroo,
said,
man.
Now that I've brought it to your
Okay,
attention,
Oh
listen
my
and
god.
see.
If you
What?
say you don't like someone, you have to say
Okay,
why.
thank you.
I've said what?
Yeah, Evie, could you imagine if we ran our?
Let's continue.
Could you imagine if we ran our justice
This
system like that?
JB guy is a disease.
Evie,
You listen
Evie.
to him.
Okay,
Evie,
you're acting like
Evie,
a dick now, not
Evie,
someone.
Could you imagine, Evie, could you imagine if we ran our justice system like that, where you didn't have to provide a shred of evidence? The only thing you had to say, well, just look at him and you'll see.
Thank
Okay,
you.
guilty. Like we don't
The
operate
evidence
like
is
that.
clear.
Yeah, but I don't think you
Evidence
should be
is
mentioning
clear.
the American
Just
justice
listen to
system,
the
which is
prick.
very flawed and
Listen to
terrible.
the man. Listen
Well,
to him.
well,
Just listen.
I'm going to talk so you can listen. So I've sat here for, I don't know, 10 minutes, didn't say a word, but you notice how my other speakers stood right up for me? Maybe because I can value. Maybe you're just an idiot that's jealous. and not a big dick.
Maybe
You're just jealous. Listen, maybe you're just jealous. Maybe you're just jealous I have a bigger dick than you. So why don't you sit around and listen and tell me if I gaslight?
Paul,
Okay?
Is that why you hang around black people so much, JB?
I'm not even touching it.
Paul, that sounded super homo. Like, fuck out of here with that. Yo, but shout out to the white leprechaun guy that spoke. What the fuck
Like,
wrong with
stop saying leprechaun, he's not Irish. He's Australian.
I don't
You do
get
whatever you
that.
want.
He still sound like a
No,
leprechaun to
but
me.
it's just,
Yeah, because-
you're attacking
Like, what are
Irish
you,
people.
Carmen San Diego and shit? What you a fucking UPS and shit? Shut your ass
Man,
up.
I'm
Because
from
you're American.
I don't think he's a leprechaun.
Sound like a leprechaun.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. But did you notice that you came up on the stage and you're the one that's gaslighted the room?
I wouldn't care if he was from Idaho. He still sound like a leprechaun.
I don't know.
He still sound like Count Dracula. JB, quit gaslighting me, bro.
King, you killing me. I don't want any dress for JB. I want him to wrinkle, okay? Keep it calm, keep it moisturized.
I moved him down so we can go on with the conversation because if you really listen to what he was saying, he's the one that gaslighted the room, coming up on stage with all that smoke and all that bullshit, but has no receipts on what he's saying. He's gaslighting. But if you guys want to bring him back up, be my guest. It's just going to derail the conversation. But let me say hello to David. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So kind of my viewpoint on a couple things. I have two things. I think people can change. I used to make certain comments and quotation mark jokes. Now I realize they weren't really jokes. They were, racist shit. I mean, I wasn't really trying to be racist. I was just being small-minded and had a lot of self-hate. And also a lot of that was living in Chicago. Chicago, in my opinion, is very segregated. There's a lot of hidden racism in Chicago. And it wasn't until I moved out of Chicago and started moving around the country, kind of opened me up and started doing my own work. So that's one point. Another thing is I think the groups, in my opinion, in my experience, that could be the most bigoted, racism, entitlist are the super religious. Not everyone. There's a lot of super religious people that are great people. But I'm talking about whether it's Mormon, whether it's Jewish, whether it's Catholic, whether it's Baptist. Who gives a shit who someone marries? I'm not attracted to guys, but if I was, Who gives a shit? And yet, why should someone else try to tell me who I should marry? And that goes a lot of things. I mean, I think there's a lot of entitlism to people that are very religious. And as I said, whether it's Jewish, Catholic, Mormon, and when I lived out west around some diehard Mormon people, holy shit, talk about the entitlism. And, I'm sure I could deal with the same thing if I moved to a highly Jewish community or highly Catholic community. I'm technically in Chicago, the Catholic Irish, and I know the Irish have their own issues with, suppression, all that. But same thing, I think the super religious are more likely, not everyone, to be super entitled and bigoted, racist, whatever you may want to call it.
Thank you, David. Let me say good morning to, I skipped her and I didn't mean to. Good morning, Nye. How you doing?
Good morning. I came in here and, man, I'm just in the background cracking up. This room is wild on any given day. And shout out to King. When I came in, King was dropping the fire. But listen, I just want to say shout out to the Jews. The best cup of coffee I ever had was my accidental visit at a Jewish day school when I was living in LA for 20 years.
Nye, I'm sorry. I have to address something real quick, and I apologize. So my friend, you piece of shit, what happened? You got 3 people in your room with my name in the title as a grifter? Is that what happened? Nobody gives a fuck? You're irrelevant? How about that? You're fucking irrelevant. You always have been. You're a fucking racist, and you're a disgrace to the Jewish community. So, why don't you be a fucking man and fucking learn and listen? I'm not triggered. People will tell me open the room, and I said, you know what I said? I don't give a fuck. They'll get 4 people in there, and that's what happened. You're a loser. You always have been. You always will be. Keep your fucking racist remarks to yourself. I'm sorry, not.
Hey, yo, if you could bring them back up too. If you could, Jack.
What I have to say is nothing to do with nothing. I just want to acknowledge the best cup of coffee I ever had was by a Jew. I wonder if they harvested those beans from the Dead Sea. So shout out to the Jews with the secret.
No, I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
There's drama because I was in that room. I saw the headline. I was like, wait a minute. I've seen Homeboy in this space. So what the hell's happened between Homeboy and JB? So I'm going to go on mute and let Homeboy.
Come back up since he wants to act like a little bitch. Because you do, bro. Every time JB do a room, you act like you're better than the host. You don't even have any fucking class. I never met a more low-class white man than my friend. You act like a bitch, bro. And you got a Batman suit on, really Robin. You look bad. Come up here with some respect and have the conversation.
Well, here's the thing. He'll say, let's have a conversation, but then he'll come off mic every 2 seconds when he disagrees with somebody. And then he likes to make fun of black people, which I'm not cool with.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the IQ to really have a conversation with a black person that doesn't agree with him, and that's why he spoke over Nicole, which proves that he's really dumb. If he was smart, he would have more self-control, and he would let somebody converse with him. But he can't do that, JB. I'm sorry. He ate lunch at school with a helmet on. He was clearly in a slow class.
I agree. But before we bring him back up, before you guys bring him back up, I want to have dialogue with Caliph. Rabbi, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you, Jay?
I'm great. You're a little bit in the matrix. Rabbi, respectfully, have I lost my Jew card today?
Can you hear me, Jay?
Yes, sir. I can hear you clearly. I asked you, have I lost my Jew card? Have I lost my Jew card today because I called out what I see, my lived experience? You must still be in the matrix because I can't hear you now.
Or you must have lost your Jew card.
Yeah. There are parts of the Jewish community are quite intolerant. So don't worry about the gatekeeping.
Oh, Rabbi, respectfully and with grace and love, I don't care what. They've never accepted me. They never will. But I think it's our responsibility if we see something wrong in our community to call out that part of the community. And that's the problem they have. Because let's keep it real, Rabbi. The Jewish community is hypersensitive to any criticism.
It's we're on guard right now. That's true. That's true.
But when I say, and it's just my opinion, Rabbi. My opinion should be irrelevant to everybody. But if you're doing the same thing over and over again, It's the definition of insanity. So when we're in Gaza, right, to 2 years later, and I understand it's guerrilla warfare.
Isn't this what he's
to me,
doing?
it's just not working out. We need a different plan. I'm not Jewish enough because I should support Israel blindly, and I can't live like that.
No, I can't live like that either. And I think if you really ask individuals, right, and not sort of like groups, and certainly not in these like public forums, but like in real relationship one-to-one, I think you'll find much more nuance and much more diversity. In public, there's a defense, right? There's people feel like they need to defend against the Jew haters, right, in public. But I think in private, people are people, and they have complicated views about these things.
Well, let me ask you a question, Rabbi, and be honest. Have I been one of the biggest supporters of Israel and the Jewish community on this app since October 7th?
In my opinion, yes.
And your opinion matters to me, but
So I guess before October 7th,
that's never going to be enough for our community.
Right?
Because I call out what I see inside our community. So because I held a mirror up, I'm not a Jew. I'm a self-hating Jew. It just doesn't make sense. Rabbi, as a
Henry
Jew,
Balzac, I would just encourage you to read a book today. Go to the gym because this is all literally.
When I look to the
Just,
traditions,
everything is projection here. It's like the definition of insanity. He literally just said it is. This is a psych ward. This is like for people who didn't graduate college and still stuck at the high school level, basically.
which is a big miss. And a
And we
big
know
shame.
he definitely didn't go to
Well,
college.
thank you, Rabbi. I'm going to bring Zach.
He was a
back up.
pimp. He went to jail for pandering, for literally organizing fucking prostitution. He's a federal
See the
felon.
dialogue I just had with Caliph? He's really
I
a rabbi.
saw the article.
I have
about
nothing
it
but
the
respect
other
for
day.
this guy. So
Brett's
he didn't take my Jew
not a
card
Jewish
away.
last name.
But
He's
here
not
is
Jewish.
real quick before
He's
I
a
get to that.
grifter. He stirs the shit pot.
I
That's
find
what he
that a lot
does.
of
He's a
our
con man.
community will come up on stages and say the most disparaging thing about another community.
And people
And all
love
it
this
does
shit.
is
I don't
gonna
know why
suck
they
the
love
interest
it.
It's because he organizes Jew hate.
Shut up! I see you can't. Oh, that's it. Just the N-word.
And
Just
he's
the
for
N-word.
black people. Like he wants to be
But
black
and
so
not
badly.
understand what
He
the N-word
organizes
is.
all
People
forms
hate
of
us
hate. The
because
guy
you
is a
think it's
fucking
okay.
hate
It's okay
organizer.
to insult me personally.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, you also opened the room about me, which I think is stupid.
I was asking the
No, hold on.
clubhouse community if you were a grifter.
He said, I'm not triggered.
And apparently I'm not. Because I put my Cash App in. So wait, it's okay that this ad monetizes themselves, but I've been doing this for 5 years for free. My time is not as valuable as anybody else's. I shouldn't ask for people, if you join the conversation, donate to my Cash
Yeah,
App.
it's just my opinion.
Okay. Your opinion, you don't speak for the Jewish community just like I
I
do.
never said that I do.
Okay, so when you come up here with your little accents, trying to make fun of the black voice, when you come up here and drop the N-word, and then the blowback comes onto the Jewish community because of people like you, you think it's funny.
I don't think that, I mean, I understand that as a Jew, I'm an ambassador to the Jewish community, but I think if you have a bad experience with me and you judge all Jews as a result of that bad experience, that makes you a racist, and it's not my responsibility.
Oh man.
Seriously,
For example, I mean, I have bad experiences with black people on this app sometimes, but it doesn't translate into me hating all black people. So that's kind of the comparison there.
Oh shit.
You know what?
Now, honestly, I didn't have anything to say, JB. An hour
Oh
ago,
my
I came in
God.
the room and you mentioned my name immediately, and you said that I took away your Jew card. I came off mute to say I never took away your Jew card, and you instantly moved me to the audience and started shitting on me.
You know why I moved you?
Are you Jewish, JB?
No, I have no idea why you moved me to the audience.
Because you don't shut up and you interject at the wrong times.
Well,
That's
but
why we got it.
everybody does that on this app, and you only move me.
You more than most people. Stop being so
Okay, well,
hypersensitive.
I guess that you're triggered by something that I do, and I'm sorry.
No, you're not, because you'll continue to do it.
Yes, I just said I'm sorry, and I get to decide if I'm sorry or not. I said I'm sorry, and you can't take that away from me. I'm sorry, JB. I didn't mean to upset you.
Thank you for your apology. You didn't upset me. You're irrelevant. Yes, Keegan, I'm
All right, well, I think you're a manipulative narcissist.
But wait. I open rooms that people come to You open rooms.
We
got
come
four
here
people
to
in the
gawk
show.
and laugh at you. I mean, I listen to
Okay.
you while I'm doing the dishes in my apartment, taking a
Yeah,
shower.
but you still come.
Yeah, I come to a lot of rooms on Clubhouse. I go listen to Amir the terrorist as well. Hey, you can't let me talk every time. Okay, you notice how you can't have a conversation.
That's right.
I'll stay on mute. You keep talking.
That's right.
makes Amir a terrorist?
I'll stay on mute. You keep talking.
I will.
Freedom of press.
I didn't say terrorist. I said terrorist supporter, but because JB wouldn't let me talk, you didn't hear what I had to say.
Yeah, so let me go to Keegan. Again, Keegan, you want to ask about my Judaism? You want to see my circumcised cop?
Well, I mean, just because you're I'm circumcised doesn't mean I'm Jewish. But circumcision is actually just in America a very aesthetic thing. I think like 75% of all males are circumcised in America. But I thought, and maybe again, now I feel like I'm wrong. I thought we had a distinct conversation back when October 7th happened that you are just a pro-Zionist, not Jewish, but you are now stating that you are Jewish. I just want to make sure I'm clear. I thought you weren't, and now this is just news.
I'm so glad that I have to. I'm so glad I have to answer to you. Actually, on October 7th, and then on before October 7th, I never played my Jew card. You know why? Because of anti-Semitism on the app, and that allowed me to get into spaces that. Hold on, let me finish. That allowed me to get into spaces that most Jews aren't allowed. I want to hear what people were saying and who I can trust.
Here comes the
So my
heat.
Judaism bothers you somehow? That's a you problem, not a me problem.
Oh no, I'm not saying it bothers me. I truly was just.
He just remembers a little.
Lack of knowledge.
I lack the knowledge of what? My lived experience?
I lacked the knowledge of you being Jewish. Not saying that you being Jewish is wrong. I'm just saying I did not have that knowledge, and now I do. And I was just clearing it up, make sure I,
See, I'll tell you what, I'll give you some, I'll change the title. JB's a proud Zionist Jew. Would that give you the knowledge?
No, I'm not saying that you're making it more serious than it is. I just thought that you.
Because I don't understand why I have to answer to somebody like you.
Well, you don't. I'm just saying I thought.
Okay, then what? I asked the question. I'm an Italian Jew. I know the world is. It's hard to see that Italians can be Jews. My father was Italian. My mother was Jewish. Would you like my 23andMe DNA test?
No. I'm not disclaiming that you are Jewish. I'm just now I know that you are Jewish. I didn't know you were Jewish. I thought you were just a pro-Zionist this whole time.
Okay, I don't even understand what the point of me having to prove my Judaism is. But that's fine. Anyway, let's go on.
It's because if you make a claim, you should back it up with some
You're on
evidence.
here saying, I'm a Jew, and I think Jews are the most racist group in America, which is an insane thing to say.
I also said it's
And then
my
you say,
lived
hit me in the Cash App.
It also says, well, Jews like money, right? Isn't that the narrative?
Well, that's a really weird thing to say, too.
See, that's why you have no mind control. That's why I move you down. Because you're a fucking idiot. What you have to say is more important. You say a statement, then I say something about your statement, but you can't shut the fuck up.
Jay Bresca's psychopathology on
here's the
full
deal.
display.
On October 7th, I claimed my Judaism. You know why? Because Jews needed an ally. I'm a Jew. I stand with my people. But I'm also, as a Jew, entitled to call out my community. Why can blacks open rooms and criticize themselves, but a Jew can't open a room and criticize my community? How the fuck does that work? It's bizarre to me. It's my lived experience. If people have a problem with my lived experience, that's on you, not on me. I don't give a fuck. I call out what I see and what I've experienced. Now, I didn't say all Jews are racist. I said my lived experience has seen racism from the Jewish community. So now people want to pull my Jew. Oh, he just claimed to be a Jew. Yeah, because it wasn't safe to be a Jew on this app. Do you get it? It wasn't safe. There were little pockets of Judaism on this app that was very secular. But then October 7th happened and real men had to stand up. And that's exactly what I did. Thousands of rooms about pro-Zionists, thousands of dollars raised.
Thousands of rooms? That's a lot of time, JB.
But let's all forget that. I'm a grifter, right, Zach? I made $200 in this app in 5 years. What's that? What's the stats on that? Does I put my fucking Cash App in? I'm a grifter, you piece of shit. My time is as valuable as anybody else. And let me tell you something, man. It takes a lot of work to run these rooms. You think it doesn't have to deal with assholes like you who are mentally disturbed and should be taking some kind of Zoloft.
Ooh.
Yeah, you are a piece of shit. My app keeps glitching, man. So let me do a quick room reset. This is Healthy Debates. The world's on fire. Biggest racist reprobate.
It's not that healthy.
I said a statement this morning that set this app on
Super
fire.
Unhealthy Debates by Jay Breska.
What community have I seen to be the biggest the most racist in what community? I said the Jewish community because that's my lived experience. I've heard it, I've seen it, I've lived it. And I'm not saying all Jews are racist. I'm saying the ones that I've been around. Okay? So I'm not triggering some of you people. You want to take my Jew card? Be my guest.
He's giving up his J card.
Jews and they're going to come after us forever. I'm going to stand down and let you guys be fucking deal with it yourself. Good morning, CEO.
Hey, good morning, all. Good morning, all.
This is fucking hypocrisy, man. We'll open rooms. We could talk about the black plight and what's wrong with the black community. We'll talk about the Latino community, the Asian community, the South African community. But when I say one thing against the Jewish community, oh my God, I'm the worst Jew ever. So it's just weird to me. I've been the biggest supporter of my community on this app, barring none that fucking death threats. My family's been threatened because I'm a fucking Zionist.
Ooh.
But you want to question my Judaism? Fuck you. You open rooms and stand up for Israel. But I'm going to call out what's wrong. Listen, Abby's in the room. I love Abby. She's a proud Zionist. I have no problems with that. She's not going to talk on what I talk on, and that's fine. She has a different perspective, lived experience than me. But this is some bullshit. We're going to go popcorn style, guys.
Cool. Who want to get in there? You can let him back up too, Jay, if you want to, man. My friend, I think he's trying to get up here. I can't let him up. They say, I think he's on
I can't either. Maybe Nye could bring him up.
Nye, if you could bring my friend up.
I just invited him.
Yeah, if I could say one point.
Yeah, we want to get to the CO. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, man. These are hard conversations.
Good morning, brother.
Hey, man, King, how are you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed. How about yourself? Yeah,
man, trying to work through it all, man. A little loopy this morning, but so please forgive me. But no, I just heard the conversation. I don't have much to say. But I think this is probably one of the first spaces and places that I've ever heard personally this conversation happening, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. It's just a different conversation than we ever have in any public space, no matter the size of the room. And I just wanted to make a couple of points on it. One is I've understood this reality for most of life, but it's just unpopular to discuss it, right? Whereas there people talk about racism, anti-Semitism, but don't understand the disparities in how we deal with race in America or bias. But, you know, I actually, to some extent, have been a fan of what Jewish people do with regards to not allowing anybody to defame their community, right? And, you know, having the Anti-Defamation League is called what it's called, meaning that I've always imagined that the reason that is because the conditions in Nazi Germany weren't about the physical things, but rather the preconditions of how they were demonized that created a society that turned their head when people were treated a certain way. And I always imagined, not being a part of that community, that the never again will we allow people to demonize us in a way that makes us like roadkill. And so that's my fear with the black community, being, you know, black guy, that I see parallels in terms of how people are publicly, black or white, able to punch down on us like a sport. And so sometimes I know it's done in the spirit of we just need to get you together, but that's not how young people are hearing it. That's not how other people are hearing it. That's not how other cultures are hearing it. And some of the information that's used is just incorrect. If I'm really honest, I wish my community acted more and in a way of not allowing anti-black rhetoric to proliferate freely without any consequence, because I think people quote unquote mean well, but I think we should look at these things and kind of sort of, you know, figure out a way to understand that if you hear somebody using the current administration consistently call people, you know, Africa shithole countries or Haitians eat cats and dogs, if you hear that for years and every day, you know, why would you look up if somebody gets shot on the streets? It's like roadkill. You just keep moving. So I think the sensitivity and humanity that we need needs to be a part of every race. So I think JB has a point. Holding a mirror is one thing, but then I also think Jewish people have a point in terms of not letting people demonize your culture. I'll stop there.
Thank you, CO. So here's the deal. I think every community is open to criticism, but the hypersensitivity that comes out of the Jewish community, bro, just read the chat. He's not really a Jew. He just came out after October 7th. No, maybe because it wasn't safe for me to come out before then. Maybe it allowed me to get into spaces and hear what people really think. See, I don't want nobody to come up on my stage and be modded in my space and say, I love Jews, and then go to another room and to call for the extermination of Jews. I want to know who my enemies are. Nicole, you want to say something?
Yeah. To CO, what CO was saying, I do agree with that. But here's another part to that, CO, is that unfortunately with the Black community, we don't listen. We don't listen, even if this room was all Black and we're talking to each other, we don't listen. There's no shame, there's no standard. It's gone out the window. And although it hurts, it feels like a bunch of needles stabbing you in a room full of people that are not us. That's how it is. And so people just get tired and they just say it. They just say it wherever they say it. We can't say it when we're together. We can't say it when we're amongst family. We can't say it in the church. We can't say it. The only thing we can do is denigrate each other in music. But then when we try to have a conversation with family, we still can't say it. So when are they going to listen? When are they going to listen? Because they hear it when they hear it from other people. They hear it when they hear it from people saying it amongst other people. But they never hear it when we're talking to them directly. And I'm not trying to make this about Black people. I'm just responding to what you're saying. Like, we would love to say what we're saying to our people and they actually hear it. Just like JB is saying, look, why is it they can have self-criticism of their group, but then when we have self-criticism, we can't. The difference is Jews have standards. And it's known there's certain things we're not going to accept in this community. So if another group has something to say about us, we're dealing with that because we already deal with our own people. The problem is we don't deal with our own people. None of them want to be told anything. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, screw you. You didn't grow up like I grew up, screw you. You don't believe what I believe, screw you. You don't vote like I vote, screw you. So, the Jews are, when they come out, I don't care if they have inner turmoil, we don't know, because when they come out, they're all on one accord. How can you get on one accord with people who don't want to be on one accord? If you don't agree with their dysfunction and their mindset, they're done. You're selling. That's it. End of discussion. How do you move forward? How do you move forward as a society? If every group was like that.
I have a question for you.
And I would love to respond back when I.
Hold on, W. Let's see. I'll have the dialogue with them, and I'll come back to you, W. Yes.
Hey, Nicole. Let me first say I hear you, and I hear that you as have the profile of what you said as a voice. And and JB heard me yesterday in that tense conversation we had say that, for what it was worth, our culture has not listened to the quote unquote fatigue of people that don't want to hear about slavery, don't want to hear about what we're going through, don't want to hear about our quote unquote victimization. And I understand there's a voice and that we should, as a community, listen. But I just wanted to just point out really quickly the peril of what you said. Like, if you really put what you said together with what some people have said, right? You're saying not some Black people, even JB and the reconciliation with the gentleman or whatever, because I think JB's a really powerful guy, and what he's doing is noble. But at least they said some Jews. They consistently said some Jews. But typically when we're on here, you basically, even though you don't realize it, you basically said all Blacks are dysfunctional. All Blacks don't listen. All you alluded to rap music. You said several disparaging things. And you just said it's the problem of all Blacks, right? And I'm just, and then King, who I've really, been a fan of some of the things King has said. I haven't heard him but a few times here, but even King said Blacks don't have the IQ to do it, even though he didn't mean it that way. My point is the language and how we've come to use it is just dangerous because it paints a picture that lumps all Black people together, meaning if you have a certain color skin or a certain phenotype, then you are this way. And I think we should make caveats to understand that you're not talking about all black people, because I just sat here and listened to you, Nicole, and I am black. And there's a lot of blacks that listen. There's a lot of blacks that are educated. There's a lot of blacks with high IQs and a lot of blacks that are accomplished. So I'm just saying, I don't like the way that we've come to this social norm of anti-blackness for the sake of accountability, running rampant. And I really think we should stop it. One other point, if I could. Thank you, Nicole, for your point. I did hear you. No pun intended. But I did want to allude to something JB said before I close the mic really quick. And JB said that in order to get into spaces, because he understands the nuances of how the world works, he just didn't announce who he was, right? Here's the crazy thing, and this is the disparity between cultures, right? That's unique to my culture. Nowhere I can go in the world that I can denounce or undo or be invisible with this dark brown skin that I am and the bias that comes with it. I'll land there.
So let me respond to you, and let me respond to you because you weren't here an hour ago, maybe an hour and a half ago. My first comment that I said when I came off the mic was that when we a lot of these discussions need to be said amongst family. But when we come in general spaces, I am kumbaya, because I'm not going to hang out our dirty laundry in front of everybody. I'm not. And I'm not going to do it for the sake of being friendly. And that's what a lot of people want. I think that you let your community off and you don't recognize the thugs and the thoughts in your community if you don't come in here and throw them under the bus. That's a lot of sentiment going around in Clubhouse, and I don't agree with it. I said that I'm not going to throw my people up under the bus to be cool with you. But I'm also not going to lie, CO. I'm just not going to lie. And it is what it is. And our community, and I don't have to say all, because I think you're intelligent enough to know that I'm not talking about all black people, because I'm the one that always says we are not a monolith. We're all different. I'm the one that always makes that argument. But I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say that our people will listen. They won't. And that's why it's so refreshing to hear they don't. And you want me to say all, not all. But there are some of us who will not listen. And it's refreshing to hear JB say, I'm calling out my people, because it seems like on this app, only black people have the heart to address each other on the app. And it's refreshing that he's calling out his, and I'm here like, yes, finally somebody else calling out their folks. Like somebody else being called out their name because they're holding their people accountable. Just finally, somebody else is doing it, because it seems like we're the only ones. And when we have all black rooms, CO, they still don't want to be held accountable. And I'm sorry if that hurts to say it in mixed company, but I say it wherever. I guarantee you I have the same heart and passion, and I'm very, very parallel on every room. Every room I go to, I'm going to say the same thing. It's not going to differentiate because white folks are in the audience, because Jews in the audience, and Latinos. I'm going to say it with my whole chest. I'm going to tell you I vote for Trump. I'm going to tell you I love Jesus. I'm going to tell you I'm pro-life in every single room. And if that hurts people's feelings, it just does. Because in our community, if you don't agree with the collective, the larger collective, then you're a sellout. And people are tired of that. Because how do we get better with that? That's just like the United States on a largest. How do we get better with that? JB is telling his people, how do we get better with that?
No,
you hate anti-Semitism, so let's break it down. That's all I'm saying.
JB, can I ask you and Nicole a question though? You could call anybody, just JB, really quick.
Yeah.
Is there any history anywhere of a culture that runs this model and becomes, kind of sort of moves on, right? Because basically, I think black people have a bigger burden to be ambassadors for other black people. Meaning, people say, I got to hold myself responsible, even though the stuff that Nicole's speaking about with black people doesn't apply to me, but I got to be accountable just because I got brown skin. So I guess what I'm saying is this ambassadorship just by default, because you're born with a particular race or ethnicity. We talk about history all the time, right? I would love to know if anybody has any historical data that says if you announce that your culture ain't shit in front of everybody, then that's going to make you more accountable and put you as a better person. This whole concept of, is it the Romans, the Etruscans, the Egyptians, I don't know, the early Confederate.
I don't know if it historically if it ever works, But I just felt the responsibility to say what I said. Now, people don't have to agree with it. I guarantee you 95% of the Jews on this app will never speak to me again. I don't give a fuck. Then those aren't the people I want around me anyway. But unless we ask the questions, how do we get the answers? Unless we call out our own community. Listen, it's easy for me to open these rooms, right? And we can talk on black plight, Puerto Rican plight, South African plight all day long. But why is it a problem when I speak on my community, from my community? Is it like a dirty little secret I'm not supposed to expose?
I don't think it's a problem, but I'd like to hear at least one example of Jewish racism.
I said it was my lived experience.
So, can you give an example from your lived experience?
Yeah, I've seen Jewish people turn down black people for apartments because they didn't want blacks in the building. That's my lived experience. Now, once again, I said it's my lived experience. Not all Jews are like that. Most Jews aren't. But when I was asked the question, in your lived experience, what community have you seen the most racism from? I said, in my community. That's exactly what I said. It's my lived experience. I've seen it. W, go ahead, man. You've been patiently waiting.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Basically, you know, if anybody, no matter what religion you are, no matter what race you are, you make a mistake, or you do something, an act that is harmful to others, we have the right to correct it, or rectify the affair. Doesn't matter if you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, or a Jew. You can speak about it and rectify. That's the first point. But I want to ask you guys a question. I'm living in the UK. Don't get offended, yeah? I'm just curious with that question. In the UK, I'm living with different communities, but the Jews in some cities, they keep themselves. So the question, why don't they interact with the community, with the people, with the Christian, with the Muslim? I see them in some cities, they keep themselves. For example, they have their own ambulance, doctors, hospital, places. So my question, why don't they interact with the people around us?
Like you're talking about like a group of like ultra-Orthodox Jews.
Marshall, hold on. Let the rabbi answer this because this is his link.
Yeah, I think there's some historical reasons for that. Like after emancipation and modernity hits, some Jewish communities rejected modernity and rejected the integration that Enlightenment brought with it, and they became very insular communities. These are mostly very Orthodox communities, ultra-Orthodox communities, and given the history for the Jews over the past couple hundred years, and even before that, there is a suspicion. I'm not saying it's founded or legitimate or anything like that. There is a suspicion of the majority society when it comes to these insular groups, and they feel more comfortable having their own doctors in-house and all these various things. So I don't think that's a representative of the majority Jewish community. I think most Jews in the West have, what's the word I'm looking for? Have assimilated to the point where they're functional in society with non-Jews, with black people, right? Oh, and by the way, parentheses, I just need to say, there's black Jews, there's Latino Jews, there's Chinese Jews, there's Indian Jews, right? So we shouldn't necessarily have this divide between Jews and black people. That's like artificial. I think that's really important.
Hello guys, how are you? What's up?
So W, I hope that answers your question, right? There's like some historical reasons for this, and I think there are legitimate reasons for Jewish communities to be suspicious or skeptical or fearful.
Okay, I got part of the answer, but the question is this. Okay, for doctors, maybe you want to have your own doctors. It's not a big deal for me. But the question is, why don't you interact with the people to welcome them into your community, for example? Like, doesn't matter. I'm a Muslim, right? So as a Muslim, I welcome anybody to the mosque, for example. I welcome, even I've spoken to Christian, even atheists, I welcome them. You know, we have some food together. I invite them. I said, our doors are open. But what I notice about the Jews, and not, as you mentioned, not all the same, I agree with you. But my question is, why don't you allow people to enter to see what's going on? I think it's happening open door.
I think, Abby, give me 1 second. Hold on, Abby, 1 second. I think when you have individual relationships, people get invited to synagogue and to Shabbat and to holidays all the time, right? Part of what I think we're talking about here is community to community and not person to person, right? And I've experienced in my life, right, in the person to person relationships, there is that welcoming bit. You know, you also have to consider and put this where it goes. I'm not sure where it goes. Jews don't proselytize. So the desire to, right, the kind of, when we get together, we're getting together for our thing and whatever. People are welcome at synagogue. People are welcome in Shabbat dinners. We're happy to share the tradition. And we are vigilant about people that we don't know showing up at the door for good, legitimate reasons, for safety reasons. So there's a tension. So there's a tension built, right? So I think there's a tension built in there to how Jewish community functions, how we are feeling these days safety-wise, and who we know and who we don't know, right? So I'll land here. Relationships, the relationships between people, between neighbors, these are the things that help societies live together and become integrated and things like that. It's tougher to do on like a larger scale, community to community. But I think if we can build those relationships, then we're going to do much better.
Let me jump in here real quick. Abby, I got you. I'm actually coming to you now. So Abby, and I'm being as honest and sincere as I've ever been. You know I love you. I have nothing but respect and admiration for you. But what I said today, right, I meant. And it's just been my lived experience. My Jew card's going to get pulled today. I guarantee no Jew on this app's going to fuck with me. They're going to forget the thousands of rooms I ran for pro-Zionists, the thousands of dollars I raised for hostages' families. But when I call out the racism that I've seen in the Jewish community, they don't like that. It's like a secret I'm not allowed to expose. Now, it's just been my lived experience, Abby. But I also say, there's really good Jews out there. Somebody like you, somebody like Rabbi. I'm not saying all Jews are racist. I'm just saying the ones I've experienced. But Abby, welcome to the room. The mic is yours.
I mean, I didn't hear you say it. I'm, like, totally focused on what's going on with Iran. So it's just not, it's not where I'm coming from. But I wanted to answer the physician in the room. So I'm part of an international organization, but it's mostly based in Israel, that is on the ground EMTs, and it's physicians that are Jews, Muslims, and Christians, and they're volunteer, and it's called United Hatzalah, and the doctors work with each other very closely. The communities the physician communities are incredibly close. You can Google, you can read all about it. We use ambucycles, and we're able to get on an emergency scene within 90 seconds using a very big motorcycle that has ambulance supplies on it. Again, our volunteers are Muslim, Christian, and Jewish. We also have these throughout. Sorry, I'm going to try. Anyway, we have these throughout the world, and we work with physicians that are volunteers that are Muslim, Christian, and Jewish, and Baha'i, and Hindu. So I wanted to respond to you. I'm not going to get into the stuff Caleb said. I think what he said was great. But with respect to physicians, and I'm also a professional, and I work in a professional field as a lawyer, and we don't have boundaries in our professions. I have not seen those boundaries. So I'm not sure what you're seeing in your profession. I know there's many Muslim physicians at Long Island Jewish and at Mount Sinai Hospital and at many of the Jewish hospitals. I also know Jewish physicians that work at a lot of the Catholic hospitals. I don't see where those barriers are on the professional, and I would tell you to reach out. But if you look at the bigger Jewish hospitals, or when I say ones that are founded by Jewish organizations originally, or still have the involvement in the Jewish community, the hospital staff. Actually, in the United States, a lot of the hospital staff are not even born in the U.S. A lot of them are from outside of the States. But I have not seen it in the medical community. And I definitely know United Hatzalah, a lot of our volunteers, and sadly, on October 7th, a lot of our medics and volunteers that died lives were Muslim doctors that were part of our system. And I went for one day.
Hold on, everybody, hold on.
I'm gonna say one thing and then I'm gonna jump off. As an American, we all have to realize what's going on right now. And as everyone's talking about this being an Israel thing or a Jewish thing, we are dealing with a regime since 1979 that has threatened death to America, that has focused their entire regime on wiping out Western civilization and America. And we as Americans cannot lose sight of that, because we are the great Satan to them. And I pray for peace, and I pray that they never have nuclear weapons so they can come and attack us. And I just want to end with
Thank you. Hold on.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may, Rambo.
I pray our government takes care of this, takes care of it right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Rambo, go ahead.
Thank you. I just been listening, and I just noticed like the conversation is very like individualized based, and I just wanted to know that, like, as far as just information added to the conversation, like especially like about the things that Nicole was saying and the Jewish thing, like, are we gonna reference like the most Jews, even the secular ones, go by like the rabbinic traditions and Talmudic traditions? So would that have anything to do with like the racism in their community, just based on their traditions and in their books have like racist traditions?
Rabbi, you want to answer that?
Everybody that holds ancient scripture and has been around a long time has some racist stuff in their past. Are some people going to be racist because of that? Yeah. Does that mean the entirety of the tradition is somehow like, illegitimate because those traditions exist? No. I think what you want to look at is how are those traditions used today? Like in Jewish schools, in synagogues, are rabbis and teachers preaching? Are they preaching the curse of Ham, for example, right? Which isn't really whatever, just as an example. No, they're not, by and large, right? We're not talking about that stuff. So is it possible people are relying on the traditions in certain parts of the tradition to sort of justify their racism? Absolutely. But I wouldn't say that means that the tradition overall is racist, or that's even a mainstream, strategy.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Like for example, like when the guy asks like, why aren't the average people just like invited to the synagogue and things like that? But wouldn't the could be mostly like in the traditions or in the book it says like you're not allowed to allow others to even like examine y'all material, and they're not really supposed to.
Let me answer you quickly, and I want to put something to bed on this. It's really important that you hear this. We had 850 bomb scares last year at our synagogues. If we're not real inviting when a stranger comes to the door, and our armed guards that are in front trying to protect us are not super inviting to a stranger, and we ask them who they are and ask for ID, you might understand what we're in the middle of and what we're going through. We are in a very bad time right now with security. Again, last year alone, 850 bomb scares in the United States at synagogues. You think there is a reason we have a guard at every synagogue, every Jewish day school, every Jewish community center. We just can't let a person walk in without knowing who they are. We have a training that we do, the power of hello. We talk to everyone that's at our door. We find out who they are. We have had threats. We have had Molotov cocktails. We have had fires set. I mean, I can go on and on. So I hope you understand why we might ask someone who they are before they come in.
No, I completely understand that. I completely understand that, but can I just respond, please? I completely understand that. I'm a Black American, right? And so the only issue I would have with that is that is true on one hand, but obviously, like I said, I'm a Black American, so our community, if by that thinking, like our community should have armed guards at every gate. But the only difference is but let me finish though. Let me finish, please. But the only difference is, like, to speak to Nicole's point, the only difference is, to be honest, the Jewish community has infiltrated the Black community at such rates, like as far as the music industry and just any entertainment or everything, basically, just our narrative, basically, the Jewish influence on the Black narrative. So it's kind of contradictory to how one hand, it's like the hand up halt, but on the other hand, it's such an infiltration into our community and such propaganda pushing into our community that it makes Nicole think that the Black people are this and that and the Jewish people are so great. But in truth and reality, it's mostly that the propaganda that the Jewish people push that will make a Black person feel that way.
I wanted to give it to famous lady.
Wait a second. Everybody hold on 1 second. We're going to go to Miss Nicole. Then I want to get El Normo and then Famous. Yeah, Miss Nicole.
Thanks, JB. I'm not.
Yeah, I wanted to, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm not responding. I'm not responding to that because everybody knows I do a lot of work in the Black community, so I don't care about people who because they don't agree with me. Now all of a sudden I hate Black people. Like I'm not going down that road with y'all. Anyway, so to Abby, my heart goes out to you. What I will say, and I'm not saying this is you, Abby, but I'm just trying to bring this back home. Abby, my heart goes out to you. But as a Black American, that has been our experience every day of our lives. It's constantly a attack. And my heart goes out to you. So then, by extension, I want to say, why are Blacks and Jews going at it? Why are we looking at each other like the enemy and not banding together? See, a lot of Jews look at us, Black Americans, as the ones that are bringing these activities against this harm to your group. That is not us. I guarantee you that is not what we're thinking about. I promise you that. That is not what we're thinking about.
It's quite the opposite, though. That should be acknowledged.
Hold on. I'm not adjusting that. I'm talking to Abby. And so what I'm trying to say is, why are we looked at as Jews' enemy?
You're not but I mean, to this person who's talking to you, that's the last thing I think. And I'm old enough to have lived through the Black Power movement and been part of a different time in America. So I totally, not only do I understand what you're saying, I started off talking about security. I also told you that we're all Americans and we're under a threat right now. And it doesn't matter if we're Asian, Black, Jewish, Hispanic, Italian, whatever we are, like, we've got a regime that wants to kill all Americans. Some idiot in the chat said this is a white man's war. It is not. Our army, look at who makes up our army, look at who lives in our country, so we're all in this together. That's and I don't want to sound like rah-rah American, but, they're threatening our whole nation. But I 100% agree with you. It's a horrible new normal. Our children, my ultimate grandchildren, will only know to go to synagogue with armed guards and metal detectors. They will never know how to walk into a temple any other way. The Mormon church down the street from my house, they don't have to deal with that. So it's a horrible normal that we're in, and we hope that it changes, and we hope the hatred goes away and we get back to normal. And thank you. And if you were running for office, I'd vote for you because your point of view are fabulous.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Nicole. So I'm going to go to Famous, then El Normo. Good morning, Famous.
Good morning, guys. So I just want to say I am Guyanese and Rican. I do classify as Black. With that being said, I have resided in Williamsburg, Brooklyn for about 10 years of my life. Williamsburg, for a lot of those who know, are segregated. One side of it is Jewish community, and then the other side is about Hispanic and mixed, The side that I resided in was the Jewish side. With that being said, I know there are a lot of back and forth in the sense of, oh, they don't like outsiders, they are not welcoming. Now, I've experienced both parts of that entirely. Now, I experienced the side where I don't know what part of the day it is or what it's called rather, but every Friday, like about 7 p.m., you can't, they no longer touch their ovens. They don't open the stuff to take it out. They don't work. Shabbat, yes. So like with that, if they know you, or even if they don't know you, but they know that you're American, so to speak, okay, and you're around them, they will use you in that regards, and they'll knock on the doors and they'll ask you, can you assist us? And in that regards, I'm taking things out of ovens for like multiple people, like my door's being knocked on every 2 minutes kind of thing, just because they know that I'm American and able to assist them, right? So I've also experienced encounters where I go to the home, and as soon as I go to the home, some of the elders are just running to the side, like they don't want to be in my presence. Okay, so I know what it is to feel the disgust along with, the can you help me? But I haven't really endured the side of, the such welcoming, like, let me say, if I were to ask my neighbor a billion times, hey, can you take something oven for me? I think personally, I would be the one to say, hey, let me make a second thing because I want to help. I want to give to this person because they're helping me. I think it's more of a sense of a woe is me, and a lot of the times as to why, people feel as though like, oh, they're targeting me, or, they're coming here. I believe it was Miss Abby who had said, there's a lot of threats that are going to those synagogues and things of that sort. And that's very much understandable. But there's also transpired in every community, if we're going to take it to that regards, there are some people that, are not as welcoming for that reason, understood. But at the same point, if you are supposed to be a light, right? You're supposed to be a reflection of, you advise that it's of Christ and godly and things of that sort that you guys are following, then you should have that Christ-like mentality. I think, yes, okay to say, I need to question who this person is, versus questioning them in a disgusted manner. So it's more so of not what you say, but how you say it. And I think that's a big part of it, right?
Thank you, Famous. Everybody, hold on. We have a cue. Famous, great share. Famous, check this out. I'm a Jew. I'm a Zionist. I support Israel. But you know how many times I walk through Williamsburg and I get followed by a crowd because I don't fit into that narrative over there?
Well, that's
I'm
a
Jew.
very specific
Shut
of
up.
Judaism.
Okay. See, this is what I mean, that you have no fucking mic control. Stay in the audience. Please don't bring that idiot back up. Let me welcome El Normo to the stage. El Normo, how you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
El Normo, I hope at the end of this conversation we're still friends.
What's going to threaten that? You don't want to pay me back the $5? Don't pay me back. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it.
I'm a cheap Jew. What do you want me to say? So I made a statement earlier, and I stand on it, because I was asked in my room yesterday, what community do you feel is the most racist? And I didn't hesitate. I said, my community, because it's been my lived experience, what I've seen. Now, that doesn't say all Jews. I know that and I'm gonna dox you a little bit, just a smidge. You've won awards from the NAACP. Maybe you're a different type of Jew. But I know with my lived experience, I've seen the racism. But the mic is yours.
Well, so one thing I'm hearing here is that people don't understand who we are or why we are the way we are. And it is complicated. Like the last beautiful person who spoke said that we're supposed to be more Christ-like, maybe, which I was laughing about that because we're not Christians. Now, this nice lady who spoke, she's obviously living among the Satmar Hasidim. That's a special group. What is special about them? Because we're trying to strike the balance between not losing our identity and living in the world of the Christian nation, as it were, or the non-Jewish people. The people you're talking about, they can only touch certain kinds of food. They can't touch if you're a guy, you're not supposed to touch a woman. You're not even supposed to look too much at a woman because your thoughts are not supposed to stray from holy things. Those people go to synagogue 3 times a day for 20 to 45 minutes every day, and all day on Shabbos. You'll see they wear their special clothes on Shabbos. So they don't want to lose their kind of connection to God. That's the Satmar Hasidim. Then there are Jews who grew up more like me, that their survival technique is to build a little bit of a moat around their community. And they walk to shul, and like you say, they can't touch the lights on Shabbos or something. I'm pretty sure they give you money when it's not Shabbos. I imagine that would be the normal procedure. And thank you for helping them. I'm sure they thank you.
Never.
So
I would say never.
You never got a thank you?
Thank you. Yes, of course. Thank you.
Okay.
You know, you're taking something out for them. So yes, but what you said in regards to the other stuff, no.
And the reason why they probably wouldn't make you another one is they wouldn't know if this is the kind of food you like, because the food they eat is very specific, extremely specific. It can only contain certain ingredients. It can only be in certain kinds of dishes. You can't mix two ingredients. It's very complicated. And they do this and we do this to try to be more in line with what God wants us to do. And there's a lot of details. It could be confusing, but you can always talk to them if you're still there. And if you take my number and I'll facilitate it, because we are used to being regarded with suspicion and hatred and fear. Those people there, they're living very much in the shadow of the Holocaust. This community grows up and comes to this country as a response almost to the persecution, the pogroms, which are riots against us, and the Holocaust. So they're very, very, very cautious in this way with outsiders because of the way we've been treated. Now, my way growing up was to be assimilated more, to try, I went to school with Christian friends. These guys don't. They only learn in Hebrew. And I wasn't as strict in my practices, and only now am I coming back to the more observant practices. And only now I'm figuring out who I am and what it means to be who I am. So our identity is complicated, and the normal reaction, I think, the way men and women are wired evolutionarily, is we fear and mistrust those who are different than us. So you hear a lot of stuff of, oh, you're from here? Well, I don't like those people. I'm not talking about Jews, I'm talking about people. Or you're, for example, a black American born here? Okay, well, that's different. I'm a black person from this country outside of the U.S. This tension. So wherever we're different, there'll be tensions. Oh, you're Latino from PR? That's different from a Latino from DR. So part of it is just a normal human misunderstanding of those who are different. And part of it for us is the history of oppression, as Abby was saying. So that's where I'll leave it there. No, I don't think the Jewish people are racist. I know we regard others now with a lot of caution out of necessity. And that might come across as what you thought it was discussed, but it might also, we get very anxiety provoking to try to keep all these laws because there's so many of them. Anyway, that's a first little bit of my thoughts that I'm sharing.
Thank you, Norm.
If I may just respond briefly. Okay.
Famous.
So one, I do want to thank you in regards to breaking it down regarding the food portion even. That's good to know that it's just different meals, things of that sort. And maybe that is what it is, that you're saying. So I am an open-minded person. I can take that into consideration. Even things as much as light switches and stuff like that were asked, to be turned off. So that, of course, always, I'm a very giving person. Naturally, I would say yes, kind of thing. So that portion, it is what it is, But in regards to, feeling like it's the racism portion and it not being of disgust. Like, I've legitimately seen, them walk next to someone of my complexion, but the moment they see someone of a darker complexion, and I can say because in my family we are of all shades and colors, and I have the darkest of the dark and the lightest with the lightest of eyes, so I would walk down otherwise, or see a relative that I'm meeting at a corner or something to pick up, and they will legitimately run across the street like if, let me get the heck out of here, because maybe something's about to happen to me. Maybe that's in the manner that they're thinking, but I can also feel in the sense of like when they're in groups of people and they just like they hurry up and like just move to the side, one person versus multiple. I don't feel that would be something that you should run across the street for. So I think, while you may have lived that and it have been like the norm for you, it's not necessarily the norm for us. And so in turn, it's just a little different, and it feels more so as racism versus, just respect or whatever.
Before anybody, before we respond, King, Nye, Sig, are you there? The mod's there?
Yeah,
I gotta get going. You guys want to keep it open? Sig, yes, no?
Yeah, I don't want to run it myself, but if the other mods want
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be the black face running a Jew.
Right.
So, go ahead and shut it down, bro.
All right, Norm, you want to respond, then I'm going to shut it down.
I'm available for a while.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, mod Norm, man. Mod him.
Hold on. Let me mod Norm. All right, guys, have a great day. See you guys later.
All right, take it easy, Jerky.
And whoever texts me saying JB's trying to run, I seen that.
I agree.
Who wanted to go next?
I have a question, please, before I go. So basically, I disagree or against any crime from any community or any race or religion. For example, I'm against the Houthis, what they're doing. Okay, for example, they believe in what they are doing. Okay, I'm against even some of the Hamas, not all, some of the Hamas what they're doing. But my question is this: is the main question is what in Israel when they're killing the Palestine? Do you think that's correct? Killing like in it? I know I've asked you this question 1,000 times maybe. I just want to understand you guys' mindset. The Israel killing innocent women and kids, and randomly, not like giving them even a time to escape from a specific place, and they have killing like thousands and thousands of innocent babies, mothers. They demolish hospitals, schools, and that. So my question: do you agree with this as a Jew? If you're a Jew.
Anybody want to answer that? Shout out to the Crickets.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was speaking. I was muted. W, I'm so glad you asked the question, because I think it's important for us to hear the ways in which other people have been fed. Hang on, I had to turn off my audio. Other people have been fed a bunch of propaganda bullshit. So the enemy has been very successful at getting out a bunch of TikToks and about YouTubes and about telling a bunch of lies in order to show the world, oh, these are people. The truth is that this war could have ended on October 10th of 2023 if they gave our people back. They took our people and they ran away. Little babies, women, old people from the Holocaust. They slaughtered them and then they took the rest away. And they could have stopped it if they gave them back and or if they surrendered. But they said to us, we're going to do it again and again, W. And then they took our people and they hid under hospitals. And of course we photographed this and videotaped this. And they hid under schools and they launched rockets from the schools and from the press offices and from the residential buildings. But the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, has been really careful about only shooting when we could minimize the loss of civilian life. And if you look and you see how much tonnage of bombs have been dropped on buildings where they have tunnels, which the whole place has got like these tunnels underneath, the percentage of civilian life has been the lowest in any military campaign. And Israel has always tried to keep it really low. So I don't know, a lot of the figures coming are from Hamas, which the whole point of this operation was to make Israel look really bad in the eyes of the world. So that's my answer.
Yeah, if I can make a quick comment. I love you, man, but I think you're majorly incorrect on here. You know, I personally, you could look at, a good way to figure out information is go to Snapchat and find people that are in different locations, what they're recording. And what's happening right now in Gaza is people are being prevented aid. Aid is being prevented. And yeah, what happened with the attack on October 7th is sickening, despicable, 100%. But what has been happening in Gaza is also sickening, 1,000%. And what you're saying is, I personally believe what you're talking about is propaganda too, false propaganda. People in Gaza are being tortured right now. They don't have access to life-saving stuff. That is real. And my heart goes out to everyone in Israel that was kidnapped, tortured, attacked, the family members. My heart goes out to them. I mean, Hamas's actions are not good. I disagree with that 100%. That being said, is what also is terrorist act? Leadership of Israel, not the people. Leadership of Israel. They create terror on Gaza and has been.
Okay.
That is also true. So is Hamas.
I get it. David, once again, we're at war. This war is being conducted more compassionately than any war in the history of war. You are incorrect that they're being prevented from getting aid. The aid is being distributed by the ton. And the IDF and Americans, because Americans are in there now distributing too, it is our task to prevent the aid from falling into the hands of Hamas, which was stealing the aid and selling it then to their own people at greatly inflated prices. And this was a way that's making the war longer. We had a choice on October 7th. We could have flattened the place, frankly. We say take out a city. You can see what we can do in Iran right now. We could take out a whole city in a day. We could have taken out the whole city, but we didn't. We said, please move over here. We sent them pamphlets. We knocked on their roofs. We sent them text messages. We called them on the phone. We said, move away. The IDF has to come in and get rid of the terrorists. They're hiding in a tunnel under your house, or they're hiding in your offices. Sometimes an IDF soldier goes into a house. There's somebody shooting from the window at them. Then the person who's shooting passes it, not in the uniform. So we don't know who it is, because that, again, it's a war crime. They're not using uniform. They pass the gun to the kid. Then the kid picks up the gun and points it. Or they pass the gun to their wife. And the wife picks up and points it. So it's a very unusual, it's a guerrilla situation. We did not want to be in there. They still have our people. And they said that...
Can I respond to you?
Let me just land in one more sentence. And they said that they're going to keep doing this again and again. Never did they surrender. So the cruelty is happening on the parts of Hamas, who are doing this to their own people, who did it to the Israelis. That, by the way, they killed black folks, they killed Asian folks, they killed African folks, they killed Russia. They didn't care. They killed everybody of every. We had Thai people working in Israel. They killed those people too. They just killed. It's a cult of death. They kill their own people. They want to make them into martyrs or shaheeds.
Can I say something?
It's an unusual situation. No. Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on.
Brother, let me respond.
I'm next. We hear the words from Abby, pulling at our heartstrings, talking about how her children, the other Jewish children, would have to go to synagogue with security. And that is saddening, but we cannot sit here and make it seem like certain Jews are not terrorizing certain neighborhoods, like the YouTube video that I just posted of the mob of Jewish kids that kicked and beat a girl out of a Brooklyn neighborhood. You know,
So
so
that
this is not
justifies a fellow coming in and doing bomb scares and SWAT?
I personally witnessed that. Like I personally
Yeah, so
witnessed
you
living
think
in
you have
Williamsburg.
the right to have a
so this is
spike
not
of
just like some peaceful. This
8,000,
is not just
9,000
like
incidents. So,
this is
whoa,
not just like
look
some
at the
peaceful
FBI
group of
statistics.
people. You know what I mean? That are being
It's
picked
not
on.
like, so
You
what
know,
did I do
they
to
beat this
deserve?
woman in Brooklyn. These are Americans.
Hold on, I don't know how we're gonna talk at the
What
same
did
time.
I
I'm gonna let Othello
What did
finish,
I
and
do
then after you
to,
get
what
it.
did, no, because you
cool?
triggered me, man. What did I do to deserve to have security? What did I do to hurt anyone?
So let him
All I
answer.
wanna
Let
do
him
is
answer.
pray. I just want to go and pray and eat kosher food.
So
And
let
I
Othello
have to worry
answer,
about
Queen.
being bombed.
Let him answer.
You see the entitlement? So, like I said, I never said you deserve any of that. But to sit here and make it seem like these are people that are being picked on, and these are just a group of peaceful people that don't do anything when they're literally beating American girls. This is 50 Jewish kids beating one girl. If the security wasn't there, they probably would have killed her. Everybody can check that YouTube video.
Okay, Othello, how many Jews live in America? How many Jews live in America, Othello? How many Jews live in America? How many?
2 million.
Do you know? But that's a very dumbass comment, and that's an ignorant comment. So how many Jews live in America?
Wait, what's
too many?
Oh,
To say an answer like that? If you were to ask me that about blacks and I gave you that answer, that would be incredibly ignorant of me. So why would you say a comment like that? How many? I asked you how many. I asked you how many live in America.
Give me the answer. Give me the answer.
What do you think? How many live in the world?
Do
you know?
Now you're asking me questions. How many live in America?
About 7 million.
Okay, I was off a little bit.
Okay, it's 2.2% of the population of the United States. Okay, if 50 kids are assholes, are there 50 black kids that are assholes? Are there 50 Italian kids that are assholes? 50 Greek kids that might be assholes? Excuse me, does that mean that we have to have that 900% spike in anti-Semitic incidents? 900% spike. And then the last 300% spike? No, it's not justified.
Okay,
It's not right. It's not right that anyone has to go and
But we sidetrack from the main point, guys. Let's return to the main point.
But you have to allow the brother to respond.
Yeah, let them cook for
Like,
it.
I get that she's passionate, and I understand it's a heated topic, and she has the right to, air her grievances the same way the brother does. But I don't know how we're going to hear each other. We talk over each other. Othello, go ahead and respond.
Okay, so what has the theme of the room been? Self-accountability, community accountability, and right? And so Sig and King have introduced, situations within the black community where we can be more accountable. JB as well has introduced the concept of subtle racism, and he even thinks Jewish people are the most racist group of people. So when we see things like this, and other people have said, even JB has said, when he goes to these neighborhoods, he's followed around as well. So this is not a one-off incident. So how can you be more accountable for your own Jewish people and their bullying tactics in America? Because that video is sickening. If there wasn't that one security guard there, she would have died.
I'll happily answer you. If someone breaks the law, they should be arrested. I'm a lawyer. That's the first thing you'll hear out of my mouth. If someone is breaking the United States law or a state law or a city ordinance, they should be arrested for it and convicted for it if they're guilty of it, no matter what ethnicity they are. I absolutely stand by that. And I would never support someone doing something like that. And no one ever should. You should never allow it in your community. No one should allow it in any community. It's against the law. It's a crime. So I'm not supporting that, but I'm not going to live a life for the rest of my life and my children's and my grandchildren's lives that they have to have 8 people dressed like SWAT guards protecting them to deter people from coming and attacking. And yes, I have been in Jewish places that have been threatened, many of them. I've had to evacuate. It's horrible, and we have to stop it. We don't want it for any group in
So hold on one second. I think famous lady wanted to respond to her real quick. Go ahead, famous.
So I just wanted to respond to.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to say, right, like, while I do feel very sorry that, you know, your family has to endure that, right? I am glad that your family has the wealth to be able to have those security guards because, you know, not for nothing, we walk around in the streets on a day-to-day basis and we have to fear that regularly. So it's not just going to mosque or synagogue or whatever type of religion it may be that someone endures, but, you know, or rather chooses to follow. But, you know, like that's regular stuff. And 9 out of 10 of us can't, you know, live that lifestyle to be able to afford a security guard to go with us during those, you know, times. So I just want to say that, you know, that's, I'm grateful that that is the case for you, but that's, you know, not the case for everyone.
I know I can take the money and I gotta go on my destination. I'd rather take my money than pay for schools and summer camps and good things. Unfortunately, I gotta work hard, work my ass off, study my ass off to have money to pay for security, and that sucks.
Yes,
I
and
wish
we
you
have
all
to work our ass off. And we have to work our ass off so that we could just survive because we are the color that we are or the ethnicity that we are. And so in turn, you know, we have to work even harder to not even be able to get a quarter of, you know, some of the things that, you know, skin and religion.
Not only that. Just in case.
Am I still able to hop in?
Yeah, I want to give it to W, and then we want to give it to Ms. Clark.
Please.
I can keep it.
I want to respond to. I want to respond to what
W. Hold on.
But let me just make a point.
No, I'm not saying no blacks succeed or no other.
Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on a second. I want to give it to W, then I want to give it to Ms. Clark, then we're going to go back to 9. All right, then we go back to famous. Go ahead, W. Shout out to famous.
Hang on for a second.
So 1 second.
Hold on 1 second.
Hang on. Thank you very much. So we just heard a narrative about a video in the chat about a girl. So I took a minute. I took I don't know what it is, 6 minutes, and watched it. And the propaganda and Jew hate surrounding even a fellow what you told us about this video is pure bullshit, and I just want to call that out. So you said this girl is, I'm going to tell you, this girl is being hounded. So what you saw was a woman with a cop around her shoulder protectively. Nobody touched her. Nobody.
Yes, they did. You're a fucking liar.
Excuse me.
You're
All
not
right,
gonna
if you're going to interrupt me, I'm going to send you down.
Hold on, Othello.
If you interrupt me, I'm going to send you down.
Norm, hold on 1 second. Norm. Hold on, man. Chill. It's all good. Everybody looking good. Let Norm finish, and Othello, we're moving around.
Okay, thank you for that. So I watched the video. Nobody's laying a hand on her. Here, this is what she's doing. And after a year and a half of us being slaughtered, right now, after a year and a half of people in this country jumping up and down and screaming death to the Jews, after protests on college campuses in favor of a genocidal terrorist organization named Hamas, after our kids not being able to go to school, while we're being slaughtered. This is, even before we responded, they were out there with the placards saying, placards and signs saying that we should die and that there should be another intifada, which was a genocide against the Jews. So after a year and a half of being genocided on October 7th, and then having people in this country and around the world jumping up and down in favor of being genocide, she puts on a scarf. And that scarf is a symbol like the swastika or a Nazi symbol that says, kill all the Jews. They're very proud of their scarf. And she goes in amongst a bunch of Jews dressed a certain way out of a desire to be closer to God. It's just plainly in black and white. It's like she's waving a Nazi swastika in front of people who are in the midst of a genocide. And the response was from the people around her, get the hell out with your filthy Nazi scarf. The cop puts his arm around her. Excuse me.
Hold on, you know he's long-winded, bro. We're trying to get him.
Okay, I will try to finish. I'm trying to be accurate. So the cop puts his arm around her protectively, walks her to the police car, and again, she's walking the whole time. Sure, she's intimidated. She's waving a red flag of a bunch of people who are in the middle of being committed genocide upon. He puts her in the cab. He puts her in the cop car, and everybody cheers. That's what's on that video. So again, the bullshit narrative isn't going to fly, and all you got to do is watch the video.
There we go. So hold on one second, y'all. I want to give it to Othello, then we want to go to W, then I want to go to Ms. Clark, then I want to go to Famous Lady. If we could, let's go to Othello, because he was kind of heated about that exchange. And make sure you're in this room. I think this is the best conversation on Clubhouse right now.
Everyone can attest to this. For the past 2 days, NY, I know you can attest to this. Norm has said the most egregious bullshit, from comparing Black Lives Matter to the Ku Klux Klan, also the gas.
No, I never would do such a. I never compared.
Let him finish the way you.
Also,
you can finish, but you can't lie about me. You can talk about him.
Come on, Norm.
He said NY heard him. Also,
it's the El Normo show, Yakko.
We don't see in this video. Now, this is just one of the myriad of videos because she had to escape.
You can't complain here.
In that street. And like I said,
this is a customer service-based organization.
She had been kicked multiple times. She had been punched. She had been tugged at, and she had been fondled. This is true.
None of that is on the video, sir. You're lying.
There's a multitude.
You're lying now, right?
I can post the other ones. We've all seen it.
No, you haven't. It's a lie.
Let me tell you.
Watch the video. Everybody watch the video.
Norm, you're a liar. You were definitely in this room saying that Black Lives Matter was equivalent to the KKK.
No, I didn't lie, man. I
He didn't
specifically
interrupt
said
you,
no.
brother. Come on, man. Let's keep it real. Come on, Norm.
Guys, let me speak, guys. Again,
Hold on, brother. Othello's not done. It's all right. Let Othello finish real quick.
I'm going to finish up right now. So, you cannot tell me that a girl wearing a bandana over her face is Nazi propaganda. I don't believe it. At the same time, it does not take. It does not take 50 to 60 men to beat on one girl to get the point across, especially when you can have security or the Jewish police or security in that
The Jewish police?
her out.
How does he know about the Shamrim Society?
Just a taste of what people go through every day when they walk through those neighborhoods.
This is just wrong. Watch the video and tell me what the time for this. Not once did they touch her.
Hey, I'm responding because you spoke for a long time.
You can go too.
Let him finish. I hope he's not long-winded this.
I won't be. Not once did they touch her, and she's wearing a Nazi symbol around her, a kafir, which is a symbol of the people who want to kill us, Hamas. Now, please go ahead. And please watch the video. Everybody in the room is seated, Othello.
W is on you, Ms. Clark, then it's on Famous Lady, then we want to play with the nine.
Let me respond. First, AL, you have said so many lies, and you said, I went to what's happening in Palestine.
Tell me one lie. Tell me one.
Wait. I tell you. I tell you maybe. I tell you count. I give you 5 lies, not only one. I give you 5 lies.
We'll talk about it once, and then we'll talk.
No, but listen. Let me speak. Let me speak. Let me speak first. Why interrupt me? No, why interrupt me? Mute your mic then. Mute your mic.
Sir, you can speak.
Shut up, Norm. Shut.
No,
we
fuck
understand.
you.
Okay.
Don't tell me what to do.
Again, what I tell you the lies you made. First thing, you accuse Hamas to be what? Doing genocide. Okay, in October 7th, I disagree.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Bro. What's wrong with you? Can you mute?
We're not
when I'm talking?
Please.
No, I'm agreeing.
Again, when something happened in America or in Europe, if an incident happened, you don't call it genocide. You call it an incident. When Hamas or any individual person commits something, a crime, you call it genocide. What is genocide?
Okay,
you're lying. Let me finish.
Let's talk about this. I want to talk about
but you've been speaking. Let me speak.
Hang on.
Let me speak.
Finish, Norm. Come on, man.
Let me finish my point.
We're gonna go.
So what is it?
Okay, hang on. We'll go one at a time.
Don't mute me. Don't mute me. Don't mute me.
I muted the room.
Norm, yeah.
Everybody
don't mute me.
I muted the room. I muted the room.
No, then let me speak. I'm speaking. You spoke. I was speaking.
Yeah, you are speaking.
Stop interrupting me. Interrupting my speaking.
Sir, everybody calm. Everybody's
Again, what is genocide? A genocide. Listen to me. Listen.
Let's talk about
a genocide. Oh, come on. Let me speak. What?
So hold on, real quick, guys. Real quick. Hold on. Don't nobody come off mute. Let Norm and W cook for just a few moments.
Thank you.
Let them cook for just a few moments. Go
Thank you.
But Norm, and Norm, you are a mod. I'm not going to take that away from you. But can we let W at least get it and then?
Yes.
Can I say my point because Norm is also.
Yeah, I'm finishing my point.
I want you to finish your point.
And I've been waiting for a while.
Okay, that's fine. You can wait for a second. We're going to let Norm and W cook for just a couple moments.
Norm, you can't interrupt everybody, man. I understand.
We're going point by point. He gets to speak all he wants.
But it's
No, you
hard
can't
to
tell me. You mentioned a lot of points. I did not stop you.
No more meta.
You mentioned a lot of points. So let me address that point. I'm addressing all your points.
W, you got.
I'm addressing your point. Let me try one more time. Speak.
Okay, W, listen to me. I'm right here. W, don't. Okay, W, you said genocide. I said genocide.
Don't interrupt me. I'm speaking. You made a lot of points. I'm addressing your point. No, you interrupted me again because you have a mic. No.
Hold on. W. He's just trying to ask for clarification.
No, you interrupted me. I know what he said. I'm
W. Hold on. Listen, W. Listen. Just listen. Hear me out. He's only asking for clarification to make sure your point is clear, crystal clear, and then he's going to let you go, and then he's going to respond back. That's all he's trying to.
All right. So we're talking together. You don't have to mute, W. So you said I told lies, and you said I said genocide. So you said, do I know what genocide is? Yes. Genocide is the stated intention to wipe out a group of people and then to act on that stated intention. So Hamas has said over and over and over that they want to wipe out every Jew on the planet. It's in their charter. I can bring it up. And that they want to wipe out the state of Israel. Those are genocidal intentions. They then came and attacked communities of farmers and a bunch of kids dancing in a field and wiped them all out. It's an act of genocide, and that's why I use those words.
Let me speak now.
I will now mute, and I'll hear you back on that one point. Go ahead.
Okay. You mentioned a lot of points early on, and you focus on one point. I'm addressing all your points. I'll let you to the end.
We go one at a time and see if I lied or
not. No. Don't tell me how I should speak. You could don't be a control, okay? Let me speak. You spoke before when I interrupt. No, don't tell me how I should speak. Again. A genocide.
You want to talk about points?
Are you controlling how I speak?
I'm trying to talk with him.
No, be quiet and let him finish and then respond to what he has to say. Come on.
No, I'm asking him. I'm talking with him.
You control the conversation.
What he's saying first.
Hang on.
He just wants to finish what he's saying.
I know we're talking to
Thank you.
I get you're not talking. You're interrupting.
Everybody calm. No yelling. So W, you want to stay on the genocide point?
Again, I'm addressing the point we made in lies earlier. I'm telling you all the lies. When I finish, then you can focus. Oh my goodness. SubhanAllah. Let me finish.
Are you
controlling the conversation? Can I speak or not?
I had to move.
Hold
on one second.
Okay, let me.
Hold on one second. I had to move Norm. I'm not doing that.
Thank you, King.
You are the king.
That is a Thank you.
I love you, Norm. Go ahead, I love Norm.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to say the point. This guy, he was making a lot of lies early on. He was going to give me one. I mentioned only one. I'm going to mention a few. He said that the Hamas is what? They're committing genocide. First thing, an attack, if a man or a woman or as individuals commit a crime, it's a crime. It's not genocide. If Hamas want to commit a genocide before they have done that long time ago, what Israel is doing, they are doing genocide in Palestine. Why I say that? They are killing innocent babies. How many babies have died? They are destroying homes. They're killing mothers, hospital. And he's saying they are targeting what? They are targeted because the Hamas are hiding them. That's not true. People are living there. They are doing live recording there. They are being killed in their own home. There's no warning even given to them. So these thousands of people are lying. Again,
And also, yes, I do agree that Hamas are doing an action. I disagree with it. The Shia in Yemen, for example, the Houthis, I disagree what they're doing. Even they're killing the Yemeni people in my country. I disagree. However, my question is for the Israeli people, okay? Do you agree what's happening in Palestine? I said myself, I'll make it clear, I'm against any crime. But the Jews, they're not holding responsibility for their action. They're not holding responsibility for their action. They say, okay, we're going to support Israel. And even they are watching the news. It's not just propaganda. It's true news. It's live. People are living there. People even report how many reporters are being killed. How many reporters are being killed? Check. People are reporting they're being killed. So how many people, thousands of people are being killed? And you don't care. You don't have to be a Muslim. You don't have to be a Christian. Be a human at least. Be a human. Imagine your own daughter. If I ask this to let me ask this to a last question. Ask this to the Israeli people. Imagine if this happened to your country in Israel. Do you agree with it? If example, if Hamas, God forbid this, I disagree, comes and start bombing the schools and you're hiding there. Do you agree they should bomb the schools and bomb the hospitals? Do you agree with that? 100% or 99% they would say no, they don't like it. But in Palestine, they don't care. They want to take control of the country. They want to demolish it.
I 100% agree.
Is it open? Is it safe to speak now?
Let Mrs. Clark speak.
Yeah, you got the mic, Mrs. Clark.
All right. So the reality of the situation is neither of y'all are innocent within this conflict, and I don't get why it's like two children sitting in the back seat poking at each other, and America's the mom, and we have to turn around with the goddamn switch at this point because we not.
Damn! Somebody had boomed the room. Somebody boom the room. Somebody boom the room.
Well, probably just Tehran would be devastated by the nuclear fallout. But all I'm going to say, I wish Scotty was here, because he's called it hyperbole when I called this the level of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And if you look at Mike Huckabee's text that Trump just released, Mike Huckabee is comparing it to the decision of Truman and Hiroshima, which I would actually have to agree. It's actually somewhere. So this decision that the president and the National Security Council is going to make is somewhere at the level of Truman in 1945 deciding to bomb Hiroshima using the nuclear weapon. That's how significant this moment is.
So, if I may, right before Israel attacked Iran, and a preemptive attack, just the day before, the IAEA, which is the international body that monitors countries with nuclear weapons or nuclear material, I should say, they released a report that was dated May 29th of this year that said that they found evidence that Iran has been lying to them about how much nuclear uranium that they had enriched and to what extent it was and for how long they have been doing it under the rules of under the auspices that they were playing by a particular set of rules that were set out by this institution. They found out that they had uranium that was enriched past 60%. They found out that what they had enriched was at 60%. And going from apparently 0 to 60 takes a very long time, but going from 60 to 90, which is weapon grade material, takes a shorter amount of time. Like the first 60% takes years, where the second 60% or the second 30% takes a matter of weeks or months. And they have enough material to possibly make 9 nuclear bombs. Now, what Iran was saying was that they needed the material for medical research purposes. And we also have to remember that Iran has some of the largest oil reserves in the world, so they don't necessarily need that much nuclear power, because they have so much oil that it's basically free for them. put out a drastic warning. I saw this on Al Jazeera itself. Al Jazeera was talking about or discussing the matter of the fact that many of the other Middle Eastern countries, other Muslim countries, were concerned because they have threatened Saudi Arabia, and then a day before that, Iran directly threatened U.S. Military bases in the Middle East. This is why Trump told all of the Middle East, all of the bases in the Middle East, basically to send all of their NOCs, their non-essential employees home back to the United States because they were preparing for a possible attack. Iran is also their leader also has a theology that's basically sort of suicidal, right? It takes like the most extreme version of his version of Islam, and he basically believes that there has to be a world or a global war in order for their Messiah to come. So a lot of these things are very messianic, and a lot of very religious politics are played into the local politics, and this is why these things are sort of happening now. And that's also North Korea isn't sort of homicidal or suicidal in that manner. They be a dictatorial force, but they don't live by ideology that basically says if we pull ourselves up and become the Chinese, which means the martyrs of the world, that we will get something in the world to come.
Ron, I actually agree with some of what you said. The idea that I think Iran likely has the amount of uranium enriched to have a nuclear weapon. I don't know if they have the ability to deliver it, but they have they would because they've got a missile program. I don't know if they have the ability to hit us, the United States, but they probably have the ability to hit Israel. I actually do believe that. I mean, they've been close to having a nuclear weapon since the 1995.
I'm sorry, trying to interrupt you, but where is the actual evidence that they have
Baby, sweetheart, there is none. But the same, there was no evidence that Pakistan had one. There's no evidence for a long time.
Pakistan had. They were secretly doing, but we knew it because they had to do tests. We knew that when they did tests, we knew when the warheads were being shipped. So what's going on?
So there was for a long time we heard this about North Korea.
No, we knew North Korea was developing too.
We knew that
we seen them when they tested.
Patty, I'm in complete agreement with you on that. The thing is, Iran's not a dumb country. They're not a backward. In some cases, a lot of ways, they're ahead. They're definitely ahead of Pakistan. And they're on par.
Trent, I'm sorry, but you understand how the tracking happens, right? If somebody actually, we have no way. United States knows every single time there is a nuclear change in any nuclear station, facility, or if there's a nuclear bomb that has been tested.
If you'll just allow me to finish, we actually didn't know. North Korea had a nuclear weapon 5 years before we publicly acknowledged.
That's not true. We knew. We knew when they were developing. We knew when they had. We knew when they So the thing is, this is crazy. So we knew when they tested.
I'm in agreement with you on that.
So what are you talking about? That they were 5 years and we didn't know.
There was consternation in the 2000s. I can't remember the exact time frame. Whether or not they actually had it, we didn't acknowledge it until they actually tested it. Here's what I'm saying. A nuclear weapons are 80-year-old technology. Okay, so the idea that countries as advanced as Iran is, I mean, when Russia is asking for Iran's help with drone technology, and Russia has massive amount of nuclear weapons, and China, it does stand to the reason that there could have been a trade. I'm not saying that definitely happened, but we aren't talking about technology that is brand new, and so I give a possibility. I give very good credence to the possibility that Iran does have nuclear weapons, which is why I think that this is at the level of the Cuban Missile Crisis, or if you want to go with Mike Huckabee, with Truman, this is a very, very serious decision. There are 17 million people in the metro area of Tehran, and if you hit that Fordo plant, to Katrina's point, it is going to cause fallout, and you're going to have a refugee disaster in the area with people pouring in across the U.S. I don't know what the right decision is, but I know that we're at the moment of a huge.
What do you think of Dylan's thing in the chat about America not being allied with Japan and South Korea? We have mutual defense agreements with both of those countries, so I don't know why.
Yeah, that was stupid. Luong, that is our ally. They are our ally.
I just wanted to respond, Trent, sweetheart. Listen to me.
So conservative.
Those are, again, and I would like you, I guess, just make it clear when you talk to public, right? Because some people might listen to you, right? And if you don't make it clear that it is your assumption and it is your fantasy, right? I think that is a very big difference than saying the possibility of them. They definitely have, nuclear weapons. Just because Russia definitely is could be helping them, but again, right now there's absolutely no evidence of them actually having a nuclear weapon and testing a one like North Korea did. Okay, so this is insane. I don't understand why people are you take your own presumable fantasies and make it sound like it's a fact. It's not. And the United States will know if Iran actually had a nuke, like if they had a weapon. They would know that. Come on. We're not stupid. And if Russia actually, and your take on the fact that Russia just gave them one, you don't think United States will know that as well?
No.
No?
It's a good
Do you think
even if Russia gave them one, it's still going to be controlled by Russia, right? Because you can't just launch a nuclear weapon. You do know that, right?
No, I think they could pass the nuclear weapons if they want.
You can't just launch them. No, it doesn't work like that.
The report. I said that Russia could have, for the help and assistance in drone, Russia could have passed enriched uranium or a nuclear warhead to Iran. It is very possible.
So I put in the chat an article. Actually, I put it in the report from the IAEA, which is a 20-something page report detailing their findings on Iran and why the warning was put out. And then I put an article about Iran's underground missile city, this underground factory.
Okay, so what does the report say? Go ahead and brief us.
The briefing says that they have tested certain areas where uranium was.
No, I'm talking about. Okay, so yeah, they tested because they do their inspections, and there was what is it called, residue. So outside of that, what exactly is this report supposed to be telling us?
That there was residue.
No, that's telling you that they have a weapon.
Are you allowing me to finish? Okay. Yeah. So while they are not saying that they have a weapon, they are saying that that Iran is doing some shady shit with uranium, and they don't know exactly what they're doing, and they don't want them to have a weapon. That's what they're saying, right?
Okay.
And it's not that you want. It's not that you want. It's not you want to end the fine. You want to prevent them from having a weapon. You don't want to wait for them to get to the point where they have a weapon, or at least fissionable material or enriched material that they can attach to a missile and then deploy, right? You don't want to wait till they get.
And so it doesn't attach them like that. So check this out. So we've heard about those little reports, right? And they are big. It's a big thing. But the thing is, we pulled out of an agreement where they got rid of centrifuge. They reduced their uranium levels to 3.57%, something like that. We have to Google it real quick. So all this happened under the Obama administration. So you're going to tell a country That's when we said fuck you, and now we're putting sanctions back on you, and we're going to take your money to not do something. So guess what they decided? They decided that they were going to continue their uranium enrichment program because the United States didn't fall. The U.S. said fuck you, put sanctions back on them. This is a fucking country where their leadership is like. I think it was stupid. It was a stupid decision, and now they're willing to go back to the JCPOA levels of 2015. If they're willing to do it, why not?
Yeah, but though, I mean, I don't understand what the point is. There are two different issues.
No, the point is for them to not have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we had a program, but Ron, we had a way to control, right? To make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon.
No, I agree.
And that was Obama signed it in 2015, right? And we had full access. Hold on. In 2015, and we had full access, right? And I actually went back and read today on purpose, and I posted a link in the chat. I can repost it from .gov, right, website, that actually they were following all the rules. They were following all the rules. That's why some money was unfrozen. That's why partially, little by little, some sanctions were lifted, because they were actually following the rules. And the inspectors came in. They didn't. They had access to everything that they were supposed to have. So we as the United States make a deal with a country, right? And you say, hey, you can have a nuclear power station. We just want to make sure and check it and give us access and blah, blah, blah. And if it follows certain rules, we'll lift economic sanctions. They do it. They comply, right, with the agreement. And then in 2018, Trump just goes, no, we're pulling out. And because the United States pulled out, other countries also pulled out, right? So now you have no agreement. So to say that, hey, they are not supposed to develop and enrich and everything else, we don't have an agreement with them. How can we even sit there and say, legally on paper, that they're not allowed to do something like that because they said they're not going to do it? We walked out. We are the one who broke the agreement. And of course, now there isn't really like no rails on that. No rules and strict,
13-year-old you're drinking.
And then we're sitting here and saying, oh, we need to make sure they don't
sweat your ass off all day.
She has been hacked on this.
Yeah, I mean, everything within its own, just kind of limits, right? Because even too much soda, you'll get kidney stones and you'll frickin' die off of that. So
yeah, don't drink Red Bull.
Ian, do you drink at all?
No, I don't drink. I don't touch the stuff.
So
barely. It's like I'm a social drinker.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite cocktail though?
I would say pina colada or mojito. Yeah.
Pina colada.
Pina colada. Yeah. I love that.
So
next time, try a tequila sunrise on me, bro. It's just
I'll try something. Yeah.
So Ian, when you say that the Jews killed JFK, were you drinking or do you really believe that shit?
I didn't say that. When did I ever say that?
In an Adrian Dittman, aka Elon Musk space, where you're like, the Jews killed JFK.
That was a reference to what people would say. I don't.
Oh, it's a reference to what other people say. Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
you don't drink pina coladas.
I don't think the Jews.
I do love content though.
People are expecting it, right? When they released JFK files, and I was looking through the files, and there's a mention of some Jewish guy, but it has nothing to do with JFK. Yeah.
Oh God, so the Jews didn't kill JFK. Okay. So who did kill JFK? Was it the Pentagon, the CIA? Was it Lyndon Johnson? Who did it?
Honestly, probably the Cubans. Yeah.
You think the Cubans killed? You think the Cubans assassinated JFK in Dallas?
I think so. Yeah. I think they hired that one guy, or at least they didn't hire him. I mean, he seemed to be lost, right? What's his name? Lee Harvey Oswald, right? He was trying to reach out to the Russian embassy. He was trying to reach out to KGB contacts that he knew because he lived in Russia for I think like 2 years. His wife is Russian, and he tried to get them to green light an assassination of some sort. I think on JFK, and they just said no, we don't want that, right? So
he was shopping around, and I think he might have finally got buyers in Cuba.
Are you saying Lee Harvey Oswald? That guy's a patsy. He's a fucking loser. He didn't pull the fucking trigger that did the shot.
Loser, but so are all these guys. Every single one of these fucking guys, who's like the dude who took a shot at Trump and missed, right? He was a loser too, and I don't think anybody put him up to it. I think these guys are just very politically engaged. They're perhaps too obsessed, like the one dude in Minnesota.
Well, how would they know? They cremate the body. They sanitize everything. There's no investigation, no transparency. It's a cover-up.
Honestly, that is very stupid of them, and they shouldn't do that. Yeah.
They do it because it's so embarrassing to the United States government and our leaders and these Democrat, communist, neo-Marxist, socialist terrorists that they don't even want to embarrass the country because our leadership is so embarrassing.
That's true. It is embarrassing.
So I don't want to come in here and sound like an absolute retard. But we just saw a Boeing 787 crash in India, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And you see the aircraft in the building. Now, granted, of course, the 9/11 attacks were carried out at much higher rate of speed, but you saw a massive fireball in the 787 Indian air disaster, and yet the building stood. And then just a few days later, just a few days ago, we saw buildings in Dubai that were on fire.
There was one building, yeah, it was Marina Plaza.
No, I think it was more than one, actually.
No, it's one. It was just one. There's a big fire. They put it out in I think 6 to 8 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, but the photographs, Ian, show quite a large number of floors destroyed by the fire. Yeah. Yeah. And so we look at this as thinking humans, right? Not engineers necessarily, just thinking humans, and we look at this and we think, well, there is 787 on top of the building in India, and the building didn't collapse. Here's the fire in Dubai on a skyscraper that really hit that building.
Just generally not do things. I had a productive discussion with somebody in my club who was complaining about the protests, and I was like, well, there are more American flags than Mexican ones, and something's still wrong. I'm like, okay, well, you need to just admit you don't like their protests, which is fine. You're right back to point of view. But don't tell me that you don't like their protests because it doesn't have enough American flags, and then when I tell you it's got more American flags, it's got Mexican flags, say, no, I still don't like what they have to say. But you don't know, because they never got the flags, you just don't want them to protest. Again, fine. This person's entitled to that point of view. But I consider it little victories when those people don't go unopposed in their thinking.
No, look, that's one of the challenges the Democrats have is that you've got all these splinter groups that actually, most of them actually are not part of the Democratic Party. They're to the left of the Democratic Party, and they have their specific interests. And they're not thinking in terms of the broad picture, and it creates confusion. So that does make sense.
Well, I don't know about that. I think I might push back.
Tell me.
I might push back on that take a little bit because I think somebody said that about Martin Luther King. So I think there is something about a minority opinion having to juxtapose against when they're outnumbered, just because you're outnumbered doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean that your idea is irrelevant and that you shouldn't just subsume kind of what you want to what the masses want, even if the masses are the Democratic Party. So I just have to push back on that a little bit. Like, it's not like we don't get points for being in lockstep if lockstep isn't what needs to happen. Right, so I just kind of want to make a case for the small splinter group.
Yeah, no. First of all, I am totally open to that. I am not perfect, and actually, I could easily, change my mind as well. But the point I was trying to make was that even when you talk about the DSA, the Democratic Socialists, the majority of them have never been Democrats. They have never been part of that Democratic Party. And I'm just making the distinction of the Democratic Party versus the left, which is, those are two separate things. And we just need to be cognizant of that. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the things that is really tricky about our current reality is that we kind of nobilize homogeneity because homogeneity wins. Right, like this idea of, and I don't have an answer. I'm not saying like we need to do X or we need to do Y, Z. But the reality is that when you contrast the Democratic Party with the Republican Party, right? Like it's one group does represent more diverse groups. That is the reality of it. And so like I think we use a lot of language of like we need to be more like the right. We need to be more organized. We need to have more consistency. And I've got that kind of that's not historical, right? In terms of what changes things, what moves the needle forward, move the ball forward. Let me find a terrible metaphor. It's more complex than that. Yes, you might win because you have
tell
the
us
numbers,
a little bit about this
right?
whole no gods,
And
no
because
kings,
and the
you're
CTO,
able to
you guys are going to start running up. When I look at my gerrymandered state of Texas,
So
I don't feel like that's winning. I feel like
I guess, it was pretty late, and I decided to play around with launch a coin, see what was up. So I launched a coin. It was after an Elon Musk meme. He posted no gods, no kings. It's a reference to Bioshock. And Ryan, chief libertarian, posted that up. I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. Let's just go with it. So I launched it. People accusing me of. I didn't own a single cent in it, no supply. It was like before I could even post the CA, a bunch of people found it because I guess they were looking for this coin. It hasn't launched yet. No one else had launched one. It went up to I think 200K, and then it went down, and so it's just sitting there. The supply is really cheap right now. I think the market cap is at 10K, but it's got a really deep pool because it got it graduated to Meteora, which is amazing. Is better than any pump fund coin. Pump fund coins have very limited liquidity, so if you're trading in high volume, you're fucked, right? I've done this so many times, or twice, where I would have so much of the supply and I'd try to sell it because I bought it high. I'd spend like fucking $4,000 one night and sold it at a loss despite being up in profit. The liquidity basically fucked me, right? Because of the curve, right? There's the bonding curve, and if there's not enough liquidity, you're fucked, right? If you try to sell, it's just not going to work out for you, and that has hit me. Now, that won't happen on this coin, right? Because the LP is super high. It's, I think, 100K, and so it's, I think it graduated at that much anyway. So the LP is pretty high, and it's ready for a CTO, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to relaunch it. Yeah.
Well, Ian, just to give you the updated numbers, the liquidity is sitting at 21K, and the market cap is at 11K.
That's pretty good.
That's a ratio of freaking a lot, 200% versus your average market cap. 10K market cap token would only have around $2,000 worth of liquidity. So that's about a 10x average. When you would normally want to be at the beginning stages of a token, because this is the beginning as it was completely zeroed out.
Correct, yep. I own $3 in it right now. So I just want to launch it.
Fees, right? And that's the benefit to the devs. Devs don't have to be rogues and have a bunch of supply and then just cheat no matter what.
I'm not interested in cheating this at all. Yeah, I get enough from the trading, the volume, right? The fees, because Launchcoin has a pretty lucrative. They give you 50% of the fees compared to Pump Fund, which I think keeps most of it. I've launched coins and Pump Fund, just for fun. Again, never really pushed it. One went to I think $1 million. I only got nothing out of it. I got fucking 1%, some bullshit. It's garbage. So. I'm not interested in rugging this. I own no supply. So I just want to help boost it, and I like the value that it espouses. No gods, no kings. I think that's the world we're going to live in. Let's do it. Let's pump this, because the whole idea of a god and a king nowadays is not really literally a king or a god. It's going to be bureaucracy, right? So we want to end bureaucracy, and I think this is a pretty good message. It's pretty solid. It's got a great foundation here. So let's.
That's pretty dope. It'll have your never-ending support as long as there ends up being a community built behind it. So that's kind of where we've always focused on, is that type of opportunity is something, right, that is a KOL-like deal with someone like yourself would normally cost X, right? So like now the community has that as an absolute standard. So that's where I suggested see someone that's been around our circle for quite a while now and is connected to many of our friends. So, you know, I was like, yo, young dude, he's got time in Web3, see what community, you know, they can build and curate. And same thing, we're going to be that extending arm from the crypto side of things. So always help him, you know, as he's building and he has that influencer side from your neck of the woods pushing and willing to help as well. So I pinned the community up at the top if you're interested.
What makes it a godless, you know, a coin though?
Well, it's that it doesn't have. We don't believe in bureaucracy. You know, that's why the God is dead, right? And humans run everything. And just like CTO, I think it's a perfect narrative.
But philosophically.
Yeah, philosophically, that's what it is. Yeah. It's a libertarian coin at its heart. I mean, it's an Andrew Ryan quote from BioShock, and the guy is a libertarian, the city under the ocean. I think that's how Elon sees himself as
So
well.
when you look at the U.S. dollar, do you think it's godless or full of God? I mean, it says in God we trust.
God, you know, it's in God we trust, right? In God we trust. And what is the God there? I mean, that's a question, right? That's I'm not super.
Well, it says trust God. I'm just saying if a currency isn't based off of God, it's not going to stand its test. It's essentially a worthless currency.
Gold is very godless. Gold is the purest form of currency.
No, you could say you could say gold is pure God because it's pure.
Well, this is pure capitalism. How about that? You know, God as a concept is dead.
So what do you think about MBS in Saudi Arabia? I mean, that kingdom isn't going to fall. All these Arab monarchs, they exchange dollars and everything. I mean, they're godless.
Do you mean they're full of God or godless?
I mean, I'm being a hypocrite, but I don't like monarchies. I'm an American. I don't think there should be kings and queens. That is the bureaucracy. But in America, we have this Democrat industrial complex bureaucracy.
They are God right now. I mean, if you look at the left, they're God, right? They're playing God with your children, with transgenderism, with all this gender studies nonsense. They are playing God, literally telling us, you know, to go against our biological instincts. There's only a man and a woman, and they're saying, oh no, you know, like we have decided that we are playing God now. And I think people shouldn't be doing that. So, you know,
it's true.
I think it's a rejection. Like, yeah, so this coin stands as a rejection of that, a rejection of their God, because their God is leftism.
Well, then my Republican bank wants to invest $1 million into this incredible new currency, which stands against the leftards and the liberal psychopaths of our society.
Based as fuck. Yeah, it's based as fuck, and it's all about the pure market. I think that is the purest form of capitalism, the pure, you know, the free market, and that's what this is. Yeah, God is dead is literally a free market statement.
Well, also, and this is really backed by whatever community gets built. I pinned the community at the top. There are 3 members right now, actually, because I just joined it. 4 members now. Good stuff. But C is your CTO leader. He is putting together a hit squad of community managers and members that are going to, you know, be part of a movement. Any movement is real if there's people that show up. And it's really hard to imagine that this country is still based, you know, in God. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I believe in Christ, not a denomination. And this country couldn't be any further away from God. The way I see it, if we can go back to its truest and its most natural form of true love, that we all really want what's best for everyone and not just certain people, well, we can really create our own world, and you can do that in any token. That's what crypto really does. People band together. Because of crypto, Ian and I have became friends. You know, we wouldn't have met outside of that, but here we are, right? So that same type of value that is truly backed by the most valuable asset in the world, the human soul, cannot be replaced, cannot be scientifically created. You know, sadly, you can buy a lot of human souls, right? Because most people will sell their soul for peanuts. We do it for people that are really part of the same movement. So join the movement. If you want to build something special, it really just becomes how many more members can join and be part of the same mission.
Yep. And if anyone's wondering, what am I going to do with the money that I get from the fees, right? Well, I want to keep building up the community. I want to give back to it, and also I want to build a gaming channel in X. So this helps. I think we need that. We need proper journalism, and I want to bring it.
And yeah, 12K market cap. 12K market cap. If you ever said you had a shot at something, oh my goodness, look, if you're going to complain at this point, now go work for your frickin' stupid bags. If all y'all do it, just like Groktimus did, you're going to hold strong. We built a strong-ass community with Groktimus. Check us out as well. And shout out to Ian being part of that movement as well. So I will tell you, when Ian is telling you wholeheartedly, he will help you. He means it. He will be there for the community. I can stamp on that. Like I told Ian, I don't give a damn about people launching tokens, doing this, doing that. That's what everybody's doing. Our president launched a rug. You know what I'm saying? Where he don't show his token. That's the definition of a rug. Launched a token, does nothing for it. Okay. Ian's already doing 10x that because that MFer at least shows up. So I will say, as the Groktimus CTO leader, Ian, I super thank you. Just for that. Being what you said you would, which is, I'll be part of the movement. So thank you.
Yep. Fantastic stuff. Listen, chaps, I want to just really say very briefly, it has been really a tremendous pleasure to participate in this conversation. Prior to this, I was in a group with Lord Miles. For those of you who know, another great person. This is part of what our dear friend Elon Musk, my fellow countryman, has enabled us to do is to engage with people from very vastly disparate social positions. I mean, this is really quite wonderful and a great pleasure to talk to chaps like you, the two of you, and this is my greeting. I say thank you
education, universal healthcare, which means that there is less stress of those things. And
there is a commonality for sure. And I know Steve Krohn was doing his Google and mentioned that according to Google, the Nordic countries are Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden.
Yeah,
so Scandinavia, that's the more general. So Nordic is the operative term, and that also what happened with our dinner was we didn't realize this, but Sweden had already closed their embassy, or they're in the process of closing the embassy here.
I can build you a whole world, baby. So join the community.
Now Denmark is a thing, so he's going to be
give an exit on a space you will never be allowed up there again. I appreciate it. The genuineness, so I'm going to allow you again next time we host the space. We're going to do this all the time. But just know, no one loves you enough to tell you the truth. I sure did. Now get promoted to listener.
Moving to Senegal,
which is a more important day. Blessings, my South African friend, and have an amazing time. But join the community. No more flowers, just real.
And they're sharing resources. And they're
so much important to see in the community itself.
Influence.
Yeah,
they will cover Burkina Faso, but they're doing it from Senegal.
Yeah.
Post it in the community itself as part of a post, and then pin that in the community.
Yeah, if you're the admin, you can just pin the post to the community timeline so people know the official CA. And y'all MFers just get to work for your bags, and don't forget about Groktimus. Don't forget that. Only because of Groktimus we are here, and we are friends, and we're gonna help y'all. But understand this is part of a bigger movement. So now I'm gonna tell you something. If you want to be friends,
it's like our best friends.
People that show up, they'll give you the follow back. He'll show up to your spaces. He'll respond to your DMs. He's all about the opportunity.
We've had such a great time here.
One of the biggest things crypto people are looking for.
Okay, we're leaving here in September.
Checks all those boxes. Now, just know what people that are in leadership are looking for. They don't want your kiss ass. They don't want your flowers. They want you in the community. Like and repost the post. Get notifications on. You know how fast you'll be freaking monetized? Just reply guy and Ian alone. Let alone Alpha Fox down there, UL, women being awful,
position.
My goodness, bro, the stacked ass
Brazilian
team that we
mission
have,
in New York,
not
in New York City.
Oh my goodness, Ian. We are building an absolute giga chat army, and we need more pockets like this. So I'm for it, helping you build this community, bro. This is gonna be sick.
And I would like to say, just for anybody that's not extremely familiar with
what she's used
the
to doing is running
crypto space
a
or
consulate.
CTOs and things like
But
that,
now she's
Clutch is
essentially
an
going to
absolute
be in
stand-up
charge
dude. The
of
whole time I've known him, he's just been nothing but good to me. Like I've known
embassies
from even before
and
I met him,
consulates all over
just
the
through the
world.
grapevine, that
She's
Clutch
the
was the type
operational
of guy you
logistical
look
head of all
for
of that.
on crypto Twitter. Like he's the type of guy you want to look for.
Yeah.
And I can tell the same thing about Ian from the time that I've known him. You know, I've seen my whole time through crypto Twitter, I've seen plenty of grifters. I've seen plenty of people that want to lie and act like they're going to help you.
It's a
And
different
act like they're going to do this,
but
that,
you
and the
know,
other.
there's a lot
And
of
they're really just out
culture,
to
a
get
lot of
money from you.
movements,
So
and
what it
also
is I'm here to
politics.
say
And
is
Andreas
Ian's
there.
answer
You can
about...
even
Oh yeah, I'm very aware of Andre and Scotty, my good friends in New York City.
Scotty, yes.
Helping me get settled, helping us. You know, it's interesting because first of all, you would think that we would be in Brasilia, but the fact is the Brazilian government actually transacts everything in U.S. dollars. And because her position is logistics, she needs to be near the banks in the United States. So that's the reason why the position is based in New York City. And look, we don't have our staff of 7 full-time people, and we
okay, you can do your own breakfast.
I'm gonna have to clean the kitty litter myself.
Yes.
So that's the downside.
That's good for you. Good for you.
Yes, it's pretty good, and I may have to do some cooking. But it's true. At first it was I did not want to come back to the United States, run under Donald Trump. I had told her originally, I said, there's no way I'm going to want to go back to the United States. But since she was offered this position in the way that it was offered, and also, frankly, they gave her a large amount of money to look for apartments. So we're gonna get. It's like being able to live in New York and not worry, about where you're gonna live.
Exactly. And the real activist has to be there where the happening is going on, not outside of own country. So you do the best when you are in USA. You can influence much more there than outside. It's gonna be fantastic, I'm sure.
And we will have an extra guest bedroom for anybody who wants to visit us in New York.
Perfect. Because if we just, I don't know, I have to clean my social media accounts first, joking, before coming to USA, because otherwise they can just...
Well, it is a concern. And
it is, I mean, even Clubhouse, we don't know who is listening this. I'm normally not paranoid at all, but I just have some researchers. I think a couple of researchers are not getting visa to USA because they research word DIA or feminism or activism and such, so they are cancelled, their visas are cancelled in top universities, and this is extremely worrying everybody.
It's true.
Using activist word of feminism, not even together, but one word.
Yeah, I totally understand. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Tina. It's so good to see you.
Yes. Hey, next week my dogs are going to holiday together. 3 of them. They have a holiday here.
And Stalin killing people and sending them to Siberia and literally having a genocide within his own people, right? That he is a better option and we should back him and give him everything so that they can industrialize.
Katrina, I hate to break it to you, but on D-Day for the United States, they knew how many casualties was going to happen. War is a meat grinder. Let's just stop using that type of word. And secondly, Russia, before we even entered the war, Russia was fighting Hitler into Germany. They had a major defeat. They had a major famous defeat in the region around Ukraine, which is Soviet Union at the time.
Okay,
There was about over 20 million deaths from Russia. We came in at the end. Ma'am,
We
listen.
did not come in at the
Patton,
end. What happened?
the final
I know
push.
history really well. Please don't spread
Okay,
this propaganda.
okay,
You're
but
spreading Russian propaganda.
it's not propaganda.
Not Russian
You got to
propaganda.
remember
This
that.
is American history.
Man, you so triggered.
No, it's
Katrina,
not.
both my grandfathers was actually there, boots on the ground. Like, I'm not just saying what I'm saying. Look it up. Who did the final push into the Russian city? Who did the final push into the final city?
What happened?
Look that.
Fine, I will look that up. I'm not
Okay,
asking
we
you
just
this.
want to have a
What
cutoff.
happened
Okay,
on September 1st? First of all, what happened September 1st, 1939, and then September 2nd,
it's unrefutable.
1939?
It's
What happened
unrefutable.
September 1st?
They invaded Poland, man. We know they invaded Poland on September 1st. But what? But we don't need to. We're not talking about World War II. And I get that. And Germany did. Germany did. Both Germany and Russia did actually. But and they split it up. And they split it up. And we get that. But we don't. We're not here to debate World War II. And Katrina, I sympathize with you and Ukrainians, Slava Ukrainian. I got plenty of Ukrainian friends.
To do with Ukraine, I'm talking about a twisted history that you Americans think about Russia and the Soviet
But
Union.
you got to read beyond what you got to keep educating yourself. Just because you read in one book, keep reading more about this issue.
I read it in a lot of European books. Believe it or not.
Okay, maybe you're just biased and have an angle. I don't know. I think that's what.
You're biased. Hold on. You look at the numbers of how many own civilian people found and killed. Do you know it is more than World War II put together? Own people.
Ma'am, you stated that the reason why Russians have a higher death count because they just threw themselves at the stake, and this is a meat grinder. That's an idiotic type of viewpoint. That's an idiotic viewpoint.
What's idiotic about it?
Yeah, because how are you supposed to defeat the enemy at that time? We didn't have these type of weapons that we have now, drones. You have to put boots on the ground, and you have to fight.
Okay, you don't know the history because if you actually go and look what U.S. soldiers were actually dealing with on islands of Japan in World War II, you will see that Japan was using exactly the same method. It was cannon fodder. Germans themselves, Nazis themselves were saying that Russians were just keep coming, and they were running out of ammo.
It's actually a German blitzkrieg tactic it's a blitzkrieg. That's actually a German type of war tactic, which was highly effective to use bodies.
Makes sense.
That's not what blitzkrieg is, though.
Again, like this is. Never mind.
The same thing is happening.
Nathan, listen. The United States has picked
Just stick with never mind.
Made a mistake.
Hey, Katrina, the same thing is happening now in Russia and Ukraine. So you're right. There's 5 times more Russians dead. What do you call that if not a meat grinder?
What is going on? Can we come to the Israel and Iran? Because I wasn't, like my student told me one time, I wasn't born in 1939. So can we move forward? Thank you. Because this is
if you up on directed traffic, how you?
Yeah, I'm trying, First Lady, to get it back. I said to Israel and Iran.
Right, but you gonna lead the conversation?
I'm sorry.
I said, are you leading the conversation?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Continue. Y'all stopped in 1941, so you can pick up.
No, but they bring it up. That's why I said I don't know why they keep bringing up the 1940s and all this extra stuff.
Can I mention something?
That was coming up. Want to keep bringing it up too, when they ain't got nothing to do with stuff.
I think I have a different perspective than what I heard so far. Is it okay if I share it?
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so the reason that we're not, or the U.S. is not pursuing military action against